Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Olivia here with Olivia's Romantic Home, and in today's video I cannot wait to share with you 50 DIY Dollar Tree Easter and Spring decor crafts. So this is going to be another compilation video. You guys love my huge binge-worthy crafting videos, so I had to put together a spring and Easter DIY one for you. This is a great way to catch up on any of the DIYs you missed, or just to binge watch this video and get some amazing inspiration. So you guys, without further ado, plug in those glue guns, get out your glitter and paint, and let's get to crafting.
Okay, you guys, I am so ready for spring. I cannot wait for spring to arrive. For this round of DIYs, I really want to go for a French farmhouse garden theme. I'm ready to see that greenery. So for the first DIY, we are going to take a plain white paint and that Dollar Tree bunny Easter card. I just want to cut the bunny out of the card. So I'm going in and around the bunny and cutting a little bit of a large space, and then I decided that I wanted to trim it down just a little bit. I see a lot of really beautiful specialty plates at TJ Maxx and Pier 1 Imports with bunnies on them, and I just knew this sweet bunny would make the perfect plate. So once I had my bunny cut out, I took some Mod Podge and just applied Mod Podge to the back, and it was super easy. I just glued it directly onto the plate. Once I had my bunny glued on, I decided to mix up a quick batch of my homemade chalk paint. I just use a cup of regular paint and then half a cup of baking soda, and then I use a fork and I just mix it up really, really good. Now this paint is just perfect for craft projects. It's a little bit grainy, but for this plate and to do different signs and DIY projects, it just works perfectly. So I'm applying some of this DIY homemade chalk paint in and around the entire plate. This is just an extra step that I wanted to take to kind of make this plate look customized. So I just painted the entire plate, and then even in and around the spot where my bunny was, I just wanted to give this a little bit of texture and dimension. So I also mixed up a bit of gray chalk paint by just adding a couple of drops of black to my white chalk paint that I mixed up, and I'm going around the edge with my paintbrush. So I'm going in and around the edge of the plate. Again, I just wanted to give it some dimension. And then I took an even smaller brush and I just added tiny, tiny, tiny bits of black. So I just dipped my brush in the black and kind of wiped it off on the side of the plate, and then added in and around the edge of the plate. And then after that was dry, I did go back in with just a tiny bit of white over that black to kind of soften it up just a bit. And you guys, this bunny is so sweet. If you have a chance to grab this card, it is just the most precious bunny. And I guess I also make bunny pillows at one of the more high-end stores. And here she is, star of the show for the centerpiece of my French farmhouse table. I added her to this green Dollar Tree plate and then one of those silver Dollar Tree chargers, and I think she came out absolutely adorable. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, I want to create a beautiful Pottery Barn inspired Easter basket. So I'm just taking one of those brown baskets from the Dollar Tree that you can buy in the garden section, and I punched 2 holes in each side. And then I'm taking some pipe cleaner and I'm pushing the pipe cleaner through each hole. What I want to do is set this Easter basket down inside of it and then pipe cleaner it on. That way the outside of the basket looks like it's this really pretty kind of natural basket. I have been so in love with the Pottery Barn garden collection, and the baskets on there are between $29 and $59, and I thought, you know what, I know we can DIY this on a budget from the Dollar Tree, so we're going for it. Now I'm going in and around the basket with some hot glue, and then I'm taking some of that Dollar Tree Spanish moss and I'm just kind of pushing it in to the bottom of the basket. So just get creative with this. I will forewarn you, this project makes a huge mess, so be patient with yourself and your craft area. Now I'm going in and along the top of the basket and just adding more hot glue, and I'm just going to continue to work the entire basket in this way. I'm going in and around the basket on the top and around the sides. And Once I got all the way around, I just added a little bit more hot glue, made sure that the Spanish moss was in and around the sides, and then that really was just fine. That was enough because I knew I wanted to stuff the basket. So the next part of this DIY is definitely optional, and again, this takes a little bit of patience, but take some of that Dollar Tree jute twine. They're selling this right now in kind of the garden and Easter section, and I'm just going to hot glue this on. What I want to do is wrap my entire basket handle with the jute twine. You could also use that Dollar Tree nautical rope, or you could paint the handle of your basket if you wanted. Again, what I'm going for is that Pottery Barn kind of natural feeling. So you're just going to continue to wrap it and then add dabs of hot glue and then wrap it some more as you go around. Now, to give it that really woodland garden effect, I'm taking a Dollar Tree grapevine wreath, and I'm going to take this wreath apart. So I just took it and I clipped it, and now I'm going to go ahead and push it around the entire basket. So you can see there's an opening where I clipped it with my wire cutters. And then this took a little bit of work and kind of maneuvering, but I clipped it and then put it in and around the basket, and then I'm just tying it with a piece of jute twine. Now, it didn't fit perfectly around the basket, but it was just perfect for me. Again, I just really want to give it kind of that really natural woodland look. And then I'm taking some of the remainder of the grapevine wreath and I'm winding it in and around my basket handle. Now, I had to kind of grab the twigs and then wrap the jute twine around it to get it to stay, and then kind of trim it back because it was a little bit wild. This project was probably the hardest one of these DIYs just because I'm not used to working with grapevine, but I really wanted to go for it and give it that natural effect. Now you can see I added some Walmart bags to the bottom to kind of stuff it, and then I'm using some of that Dollar Tree Excelsior grass, and I'm just going to add that to the top to kind of give it that pretty natural, just almost like I picked this fresh from the garden look. And then I'm also adding in some Dollar Tree onion grass in and around the side. I love this. I think it's so perfect to kind of look like Mr. Peter Cottontail has just been hippity-hoppeting down the road, and he's got this cute little basket. My mom always used to do natural Easter baskets for us kiddos. She would even put real grass in our Easter baskets. Comment and let me know, what kind of Easter baskets did you all have when you were a kid? So this really is reminiscent of one of my childhood Easter baskets. So here is the finished product. I just added in one of those Target Dollar Spot bunnies, and I did add in a couple of Dollar Tree green berries and a couple of clips of the Dollar Tree fern. I am over the moon in love with this basket. It only cost us a couple of dollars, and it looks so high end to me, and definitely it was very price friendly, and it just looks so natural and very French farmhouse. We're bringing the garden feeling inside without spending a ton of money and getting ready for spring. Absolutely in love with this one. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to take a piece of folder that I had coffee stained. So to coffee stain a folder, you just take the folder and put some coffee on it and then bake it in the oven for about 20 minutes on 350. Or at least until the coffee absorbs. And then I'm making a tag with this, so I'm taking the rest of that Dollar Tree Easter card. We don't want any waste here, and I'm cutting out the Happy Easter part that was at the top of that card. I used 3 of those cards because I ended up making 3 bunny plates. I wanted to have some for my cabinet. And then I'm just going to hot glue the little Happy Easter to the part of these coffee stained tags. So once I got the holes punched in my tag, I just took some of that jute twine and ran it through the top part of my tag. This is going to be perfect for those really cute Easter baskets that we're making. Very French farmhouse, French country feel here. Just loving this. So simple, so sweet, and so elegant. So I tied this tag to the side of my Easter basket, and I think it just looks absolutely adorable. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to take one of those cute little flowers and garden tins, and we're going to add some Dollar Tree styrofoam to the bottom. I put a big thing of hot glue at the bottom of that, and then just added in that styrofoam. Then you're going to take several bundles of the Dollar Tree lilac, and you're just going to clip the stems and begin to kind of add them. The way that I added these lilacs in there, I wanted it to look kind of wild. So you can see I'm kind of bending the stems over. I started from the center, and then I'm working in and around, and I just want to kind of bend them over almost like I just freshly picked them. I know that's definitely not possible with these fake lilacs, but I think Dollar Tree did a really nice job with their lilacs, honestly. I think they're really, really pretty. They've got a really nice, soft, light purple color, and I did notice on the Pottery Barn website that they used a big, giant ton of lilacs in their display with those garden baskets, and I thought, why not? Let's see if we can do that one as well. And so I'm also taking some lavender and putting some lavender into the center. Now this lavender I did get at Walmart, but it was 97 cents for the bundle. Dollar Tree has lavender, but their bundles aren't quite as big, so I feel like it's a little bit more price point friendly to grab the Walmart lavender if you guys see that. It was out in both my stores in the crafts section if you guys need to be able to find that. And then I'm just putting in a little bit more lilac. I wanted to turn the arrangement around and make sure that it wasn't bare back here, so I'm picking in some more lilac stems. And then last but not least, I decided that I wanted to add in the remainder of that excelsior grass, so I'm just poking that in and around the edge of the tin. You could also hot glue this if you wanted to, but you guys know me, I'll probably take this apart and do something different with it, and so I didn't want that part to be permanent. Now I'm adding it to the center of my table here. I had created this DIY two-tiered stand in another DIY. I have a bunch of DIYs I will link down below for you, but it's just a candlestick and two plates glued together, and then some greenery underneath. So here it is. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's the perfect pop of color for all of this greenery. I love how the greens and the browns and the creams and kind of some of those grays mixed together. And then with that purple, it just feels so fresh and so springy. So I can't wait for spring. Is anyone else doing any spring dreaming? You guys comment and let me know if you're just ready for some spring vibes, a little bit of warm weather, and some greens. These greens definitely made me smile. So here's one of those Pottery Barn baskets I just had to share with you guys, and we're going to make one very similar to this. So you're going to take a Dollar Tree Easter basket. I chose the green because I'm going to be adding a lot of green moss to this basket. So you're just going to hot glue the side of your basket, and I tried to kind of do this in strips. So also if you pull the moss apart just a little bit and then press it onto there, you'll make it go a little bit further. I hope that makes sense. So anyway, I just wanted to create one of those Pottery Barn inspired baskets. So I just love how they have the greenery all the way around them. I've also seen a lot of these greenery baskets at TJ Maxx, so I really love them, but they're so pricey, and I knew we could do this on a super tiny budget. So definitely, if you guys have a chance, this is just that green basket from Dollar Tree in the Easter section, and then some of that Dollar Tree greenery moss that I'm gluing onto here. Now this does take some patience and makes a huge mess, but hang in there, the results are pretty awesome. Now that I'm done gluing in and around the sides, I'm just gluing the top part of the basket. This is definitely optional, but I wanted it to kind of look like the whole basket was made of greenery. Now, once I had the greenery added to my basket, in and around the sides, the handle, I went in with some of my Suave hairspray. I did this outside so it was nice and ventilated, and I gave it about 4 or 5 coats. So I sprayed the hairspray on and then gave it some coats. And then I filled the center part of my basket with just a little bit of that Spanish moss and some Excelsior grass, and then these darling little Dollar Tree speckled eggs looked just perfect. My store had just gotten them in, so I grabbed a couple of packets of those, and I'm really loving this French farmhouse feel. So pretty, so festive for a lovely springtime. You guys comment and let me know if you're loving this as well. Next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to do a repaint of this cute little spring Easter bunny. Now you guys, I am in love with this bunny, and I really love the little polka dot and the little pink bow, but for my French farmhouse decor, I decided I wanted to tone it down just a little bit. Shocker, I know I love pink and sparkles, but I did go over this with some of the homemade chalk paint that I had created. I love the bunny's face and the little ears, so I'm leaving that alone. And once I had chalk painted a little bit of white and gray on the base of this, I went in with kind of just a little bit of black and made some stripes down the center part just to kind of give it some dimension. And then I also went in and along the top part of the bunny sign to give it a little bit of dimension as well. Again, this is totally optional, and you guys, I love the sign in its original form, but just to kind of blend in and not take over this vignette that I'm creating, I wanted to tone it down just a bit. I did have to have my sparkle though, you guys, so I'm adding that little spring banner back on. Too cute and too irresistible. So in love with this, and I'm redoing my cabinet. I added the little bunny to the side here, and then I added some greenery. I'm not finished with this. I was crafting so much today, I didn't quite get everything I wanted done, but I'm working on this cabinet, so you may see me redecorate this in a future video, but I'm really loving it for now. So cute and ready for spring.
I'll share with you 6 DIY Easter and spring decor crafts. So in this video, I am bringing you a Dollar Tree Deco Mesh wreath. I hope you guys can see this. I am so in love with this. I've really been wanting to do something with pastels for Easter. I've done about a 4 to 5 part series of French farmhouse decor. I will link those videos down below if you guys are interested, as well as a ton of other Easter and spring DIYs. So without further ado, you guys, plug in those glue guns, get out your glitter and sparkles, and let's get to crafting.
For the first Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create this really beautiful springtime Easter deco mesh wreath. For this wreath, you're going to need a wire wreath form from the Dollar Tree. I used 4 rolls of the Dollar Tree Deco Mesh, this really cute Easter sign, and then some really beautiful flowers. Customize this to whatever you love. So at the top of this, I am just taking a pipe cleaner and I'm twisting on the little sign. Here you can see at the top, and then I'm going to add pipe cleaners to the little separators. You can see these little wire separators on the wreath. I'm going to begin and add the deco mesh to where those little separators are. I guess that's what you would call them. Anyway, I'm just twist tying this pipe cleaner on, and then I'm going to get out the Dollar Tree white deco mesh and the pink deco mesh. Again, you guys use whatever colors you love, and they also do have deco mesh at some of the craft stores. So I'm gathering these together, and then I'm twist tying them on. I'm just twisting about twice, and then I'm going up to the next spot on this wreath form where the little wire bracket is, I guess you would call call it, I'm pinching it together, and then I'm going in with another pipe cleaner, and I'm going to pipe cleaner that on. So I'm just going to continue to do this on the entire wreath base. I believe there's about 6 brackets on each base, and so I'm kind of pulling these together and making a little poof, and then I'm going to where that bracket is and I'm pipe cleanering it on. This does not have to be perfect because we're going to add a ton of florals to this, and really deco mesh does not have to be perfect. It's very forgiving, so don't be afraid. You guys totally can do this. So you can see I'm just going around the entire wreath form until I get back to my starting point, which is at my base, and then I'm going to go ahead and pipe cleaner that spot on. Then I'm going to go in with some more pipe cleaners, and in between the spots, I'm going to add in that green deco mesh. So I'm just going around the entire wreath again and adding in the green deco mesh. Also, I'm kind of pulling the mesh out into kind of a poof, you can see. So I'm not pulling it tight onto the wire wreath form. I'm kind of leaving a little bit of a poof. That will give your wreath some extra fluffiness, which I love because I love to make a really over-the-top creation. So I went around the entire wreath with that green deco mesh, and then on the inside of this frame is where I want to add another layer of deco mesh. So in between those poofs, I'm going in with another pipe cleaner, and I'm going to pipe cleaner on another layer of deco mesh, and this is going to be more toward the inside of the wreath frame. So just twist tie that on, give just a little bit of a poof. Now these poofs I'm not doing quite as thick because I don't want to cover up my sign. Comment and let me know if you guys love making deco mesh wreaths or if you're a little bit intimidated by deco mesh. I always kind of was, and I watched some tutorials and then I just went ahead and went for it. So I really hope this is helping you all, and comment and let me know also if you have questions. So again, I'm just going around the entire wreath and pipe cleaner. I'm adding the green deco mesh with a new pipe cleaner. Again, this is in between the spots where the yellow pipe cleaner was added. And then once I get to the base, I just pipe cleaner that on. And then on that second round of loops with those second row of pipe cleaners, I'm adding in the rest of that pink and white mesh. This is definitely optional, but again, I want to fill this out just a bit, and that way it'll have more dimension. Also be careful not to completely cover up your sign. You can tell that was a bit of a challenge on this wreath because this sign was so large, but I wanted to make sure that I used everything from the Dollar Tree. So continue until you get all of that pink and white mesh pipe cleanered on. And then I did go in at the end and add one more roll of deco mesh of the pink to the outside layers. Now we're just going to make an Olivia bow, and I'm using this kind of plaid wired ribbon from the Dollar Tree. So you're going to take the ribbon and loop it over on itself. This is going to be a quadruple layered bow. So just starting with the base, we're just going to do where we have 2 loops on our Olivia bow. I do have some bow tutorials linked down below, and I'm just going to pipe cleaner this together. And then I'm going to give it a bit of a fluffing. Now we're going to make another Olivia bow. You're just going to take your ribbon and loop it over on itself. This time we're going to do 3 loops, and then you find the center of your ribbon. You're going to fold it to find your center, fold it back, and then cut a little notch in each side of your bow. Don't cut too far because you don't want your ribbon and bow to fall apart. And then you're just going to tie that together with the original pipe cleaner that you used on that first bow. You're going to want to fluff this out really nice. I love these bows. They're super duper easy and a great way to add dimension to your wreath by doing all of the different layers. Again, you guys get creative. Use your favorite ribbons. Use whatever colors you love. You don't have to use this many ribbons, but I do love to go over the top with my large fancy bow for this Easter wreath. Now I'm just adding in some of that Dollar Tree pink ribbon. I did another Olivia bow, but this time I just did 2 loops. And then I'm taking it and pipe cleaning it all together and then giving it a nice good fluffing. And then this is what I'm going to use to tie onto my wreath. Now for the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create a beautiful little bird's nest out of an egg carton. This is kind of going to go in along with the wreath. So I wanted to share this one with you guys first before we finish our wreath. So I'm just taking a pipe cleaner and pipe cleanering on to the inside of this little egg carton and then twisting it in the back because I want to have the pipe cleaner on the back to be able to tie this onto our wreath. And then I'm just taking some of that Dollar Tree. It was a mix of Excelsior grass and paper shred, and I'm hot gluing on the outside of my little egg carton, and I'm adding some to the inside as well. And then, so I just want to create a little bird's nest with this Excelsior grass and paper shred mixture that I had left over from another project. And then I'm going to be adding in some of those really cute little Dollar Tree speckled eggs, and then some of the smaller eggs that you get in a pack of, I believe, 12. So I'm adding some hot glue to the Dollar Tree speckled egg, putting that in there, holding it down, then adding some more dabs of hot glue and adding in some of those mini eggs. And this is going to go perfectly into our wreath. And I'm going to show you guys how we finish this wreath in just a minute. But I did want to go ahead and prep you guys on some of the Dollar Tree DIYs that we're going to add into this wreath. You could also use this little bird's nest in and around your Easter decor. So for the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create a fancy egg. So we're going to take one of those speckled eggs and then take some of that Dollar Tree jute twine and hot glue in and around the egg, and then hot glue the twine around the egg. Again, this is going to be used in our wreath, but you guys could create these and use them in a decorative vignette for Easter with some sweet little eggs, bird's nest, just whatever you might want a fancy egg for. So we're continuing to wrap the jute twine. I believe I wrapped it 3 times around and hot glued it. And then I made an easy little shoelace bow. And a shoelace bow is just how you would tie your shoes. And then I'm going to hot glue that onto the side of my little egg. Again, this is a fancy Easter egg. You guys know how I love fancy. So I'm going to apply that to the side of the egg. And then I went in with just one tiny little stray lilac to give it a little floral dimension, and then just a little jute twine bow that I tied just like I would tie my shoelaces. And so here it is, and then I'm going to add that into the bow that I'm adding into my wreath. I think it came out so adorable, so fancy, and absolutely perfect for our beautiful pastel Easter vignettes. So now we're going to go in and begin to finish our wreath. I'm adding in the bow. Remember, we had a little pipe cleaner attached to that, so I'm just going to pipe cleaner it on to my wreath. And then, of course, this is the secret to my bows. I just give my bow a good fluffing. So when you create an Olivia bow, the little notches that you cut in it allow you to be able to fluff your bow. So you can move those little loops in and around whatever you want to show really nicely. Remember not to cover up the entire bunny sign with your bow, so you can just kind of play with that. And then I took some of that plaid ribbon and I'm just adding it in to the little pipe cleaners in and around the side of this wreath. I wanted to give it a little bit dimension and then also tie in the bow at the bottom. So you're just going to pipe cleaner this on, super easy, and then you can kind of arrange it because this is wired ribbon. Just arrange it in and around how you want it to look. Again, be careful not to cover up the sign. That was a big challenge with this wreath. I knew it was going to be because of how big the sign was, but I couldn't resist this adorable sign. And then I just went in and clipped off the pipe cleaners. Now that step might be optional. You might want to leave those pipe cleaners on. I kind of realized that later. Anyway, I'm adding the rest of the leftover ribbon from the Olivia bow up to the top. So I just took 2 loops of ribbon and then I'm tying it on with some of that Dollar Tree raffia. I'm going to use some raffia in and around this wreath. It was the perfect addition, I felt like, for an Easter wreath. Also, I'm going to dovetail my ends of my ribbon by just creasing them and cutting upward to create that really cute little boutique triangle. Now I'm going in and I'm adding in that little bird nest that we created. I really love that we created with that eggshell crate because it's super light, so it doesn't weigh the wreath down anymore. Now I'm adding in some of that Dollar Tree raffia, so I'm just tying it around one of the deco mesh loops. Again, if I would have left that pipe cleaner on, I could have just used the pipe cleaner. but either way, you guys are totally fine. And then I did have to trim off some of the raffia because it got a little wild and crazy. And then note to self right there, you guys, more awkward mom dancing. I love to dance while I'm making wreaths. Okay, so now we're adding in some of those Dollar Tree ferns. You guys, I am really loving their ferns. I think they look super realistic and they're a great way to kind of add the outside inside. I also added in some of those cute little pink Dollar Tree hydrangeas and then some of those white berries up to the top. And then I'm just adding in a little bit more of that leftover burlap ribbon. You guys get creative with this. Add as many little doodads as you like. You can also see down at the bottom, I added in a little bit of a fern and that fancy egg. And then here it is. I am so in love with this. I did add in two Dollar Tree has these really beautiful kind of trailing pink and white florals. I didn't look to see what they were called, but if you guys see those, grab those. Those are super expensive in the regular craft stores. I just added a couple of those picks in just to kind of give this wreath some dimension. So I really hope you all are loving this. I had so much fun creating this. Could not wait to share it with you. And there's some of those Dollar Tree speckled eggs, just a little bit of raffia, and some lilacs, and then some of those trailing flowers. It just really rounded this creation out really well. I really feel like this wreath is very, very high end. We used every single thing from the Dollar Tree, so you guys can definitely do this. Okay. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create a super adorable little Easter Bunny banner using the Dollar Tree treat sacks. So the Dollar Tree treat sacks come 4 to a pack, and you're just going to take the treat sacks and cut out the front part with the bunny on it. I'm just cutting in and along the edge of the seam.
Full stop. Can't believe I live in your thoughts. I think about you all the time, morning, evening, and midnight. Such a wonderful delight. Forgo, give up everything that I own. Yeah, I'd give it all up now.
Once you have all of your treat sacks cut out, you can take a piece of jute twine, flip them over, and then hot glue a dab of hot glue across the top part of your treat sack, and then just flip it over, and that will create a nice little banner for your cute little Easter Bunny Dollar Tree treat sack banner. So do it to the next one, and I just kind of eyeballed how far apart I wanted these. These are to go in my kitchen on my little hutch, so I knew I wanted it to be about a certain length, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So another thing that would be really cute to do too would be to tie some ribbon in between these. And so I'm just going to go ahead and continue to run that strip of hot glue down the top part of the treat sack, lay the jute twine on top of that, and then flip them over and then kind of press down where you're gluing. And then I'm adding them to this cute little banner that we made in one of my Valentine DIYs. It's just some burlap and lace that I had that I tied some pink ribbon onto. So I'm taking the little ties and just tying my garland onto here. Again, you could tie some ribbon onto your little bunny banner, or just leave it as is, depending upon how you want it. And I think this is so adorable. This is going on my kitchen hutch. Very perfect for Easter. It goes perfectly with this banner. I was so excited for this easy, cute little project. I think you could even do this one with your kiddos. Just supervise when you're using the hot glue. Super fun. It would also look really great on a mantle.
Unexpected love was found.
For the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create kind of a cluster of hanging Easter eggs. So I'm taking that nautical rope from Dollar Tree, and I'm taking 4 of those larger Easter eggs. I added the first egg with the little loop. They have little loops on the ends, and then I'm adding in some of those smaller kind of sparkling eggs, and then I'm adding another large egg and then a smaller egg until I can get them all kind of into a loop. Now my idea is to use this outside on my little bike. I also tied a little raffia bow on top, but since it was absolutely freezing and supposed to snow this weekend, I decided just to loop them into this vase and added some extra leftover flowers to it. I I'm not sure what I think about this, you guys. It's kind of crazy. Comment and let me know what you think. It's totally okay if you laugh at this one. But I thought it was actually kind of cute. I really think it would be great too to use dropping down from a chandelier. It didn't quite match my French farmhouse, but in my kitchen I am going for these fun pastels. I also found pastel candy corn at Tuesday morning if you guys need some of that.
You're the rose.
So in this video, you guys, I need you to get out those glue guns, get out your glitter and paint, and let's get to crafting.
Okay, you guys, who is ready for spring? I am definitely doing some spring dreaming, and I love pastels, so spring is definitely my jam. I cannot wait to share these adorable, fun, easy Dollar Tree DIYs. So let's get our craft on. For the first Dollar Tree DIY, I'm taking this old chicken container. It was just a great value can of chicken, and I'm taking the label off. I had washed it out with some soap really well and disinfected it, and I'm going to create a bird's nest. So using some of that Dollar Tree raffia, first you're going to apply a layer of hot glue, and then just begin to press the raffia onto the hot glue. I also had some paper shred from Dollar Tree mixed in, and then it was super cold outside, but I ran outside with some scissors and just cut off some dead twigs from my lemon balm herb garden, and I'm adding that into the mix. So you guys can get really creative with a bird's nest. We have birds that nest outside of our home, and they always bring in tons of bits and bobs to their nest, so a bird's nest doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just continuing to add some layers of hot glue and then layers of raffia, and I had that paper mixed into it. I even had a little bit of moss from the Dollar Tree kind of mixed into that as well. So you can see I'm just hot gluing it on, and then if a piece comes loose, I can just hot glue it back down. Also, if you guys had some twine, you could use a little bit of twine to kind of tie that in. So for the center part of the bird's nest, I am just folding in half some of those lemon balm branches and just kind of pushing them in. Again, you guys, any dead twigs will work, so get creative. And I'm also just using a couple of little twigs that I had broken off from one of my rose bushes. I cut them to fit kind of along the edge of the bird's nest, and so I'm just adding in some more twigs. And I made 2 of these. They came out super adorable, and they were basically free. Definitely love the recycling aspect of this. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to recycle a Dollar Tree picture frame that I had used during Valentine's Day. So I just took the backing out of the picture frame, and I'm taking this doily. It's just a scrap doily that I had that I wasn't using, and I'm going to hot glue it down to the backing of that picture frame. So I'm just going in and around the entire edge of this, and then I'm going to hot glue it down. I'm also lining it up, so I just have one edge to trim off when I'm done. So just hot glue in and around, and I'm not going to be using the glass, so I wasn't worried about the thickness of the doily, but I did trim around it really well. And so once you have that done, I had Mr. Romantic print out just a little thing on the computer that said spring, and so I'm just adding in this spring sign. I had also kind of distressed it in and around the edges to kind of give it that aged appearance, and I used, I believe it was a French font, so if that helps you guys. And then I'm adding a big dollop of hot glue and just some of those scraps that I had left over from making my bird's nest, I'm adding to the bottom of this. I kind of want to create a little nest at the base of this, and so I'm just kind of pushing some twigs on to kind of give it a little spot. I want to add some eggs. So again, you guys get creative. Whatever you have in your yard will work just perfectly. And then I had one of those Dollar Tree moss stones. The moss stone was a little large for the picture frame, so I just pulled the moss off of the little spot. Some of the Dollar Tree loose moss would work as well. And so I hot glued a little bit of that to the base and then a little bit of that to the top. And then I had one of those Dollar Tree mirrored frames that I painted. I just put it back into the frame. And then I have these cute little Dollar Tree eggs that I painted that I'm going to share with you guys in just a minute. And I'm hot gluing them onto the base to kind of bring in that cute little aspect of spring. I am absolutely in love with this. It brings in all of my favorite things: pastels, the happy vibes of spring, and then the scrolly frame and this darling little nest. So I did create this little cute Easter vignette in my entryway, and this little spring sign, something about it just gave me some hope to chase away some of those winter blues that I needed and get ready to garden and dream of spring flowers. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, we are going to take some of our craft paint. This is just the apple barrel craft paint from Walmart. I get it in all of the really pretty pastel colors. So we have a pastel blue, green, pink, and purple. And my daughter was home from school because of the weather, and so I invited her to help me do this DIY. She loves painting and crafting as well. So we just stuck our little Dollar Tree eggs on the end. I used a fork and she used a popsicle stick. That way we didn't quite get it as much on our hands. And then we just went to town painting our eggs. So I painted a layer of pastel, and then I went over it with just a little bit of white with a tiny tinge of gray to kind of give it a little bit more of an aged appearance. But this was a super fun and easy project to do. We had a lot of laughs because we really did get pretty messy with our painting. And here it is with our cute little bird's nest that we made. How adorable is this? And so cute. And again, you guys could customize this to match whatever decor you are using in your pastel spring and Easter home. And they fit perfectly with these little lovebirds. And I'll show you guys how I repainted my lovebirds coming up soon here. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to be doing some altered books. So in my decluttering process, I was getting rid of some books, and they were books, one of them that I had found at the Dollar Tree, a couple of them that I had picked up from the thrift store. So I'm just painting them with some white craft paint. I did 2 coats. I did front and back. It is a bit of a drying process. I actually started this a day early, so they had plenty of time to dry. And then I painted the spine of the book as well. And you guys can go in again and customize this to whatever color you love. You can add in some browns or some black paint too to kind of just stress it, to give it that aged appearance. I knew that I wanted to keep it very crisp and white for this DIY, so I just used white. And then I wanted to share this kind of cool little project you can do with a book. So you peel back about 20 to 30 pages, and then you can draw a square. What I'm making, I've never done this before, I wanted to create a little hidey hole inside of a book. So I'm just using this tea, it's a square tea container, and I'm tracing around it. And then I took my craft knife and I just began to cut that square because I wanted to create like this little hidey hole in my book. I knew I wanted to put it on my front buffet, and so I thought, you know, if I wanted to keep something in there and tell the kids, hey, here's where I put some money or a key or a little love note, I'll have this little secret book. So my daughter and me and my husband know about it. My son is actually away wrestling this weekend, and so I'm just cutting this out. So you guys just cut in and around. You're going to cut probably my craft knife was not very sharp, so it only cut about 4 to 5 pages at a time. And I will tell you that it was a little shabby chic in a way, the way that I went about it. You know, you can see here the pages aren't perfect. I did go back in with some scissors and kind of cut this. I don't do a lot of paper crafts, so please give me grace on this, but I did manage to get all the way through the book. And so also remember when you first start to peel back about 20 to 30 pages. That way the book looks like it's you can't tell. I guess Mr. Romantic had suggested that to me. So anyway, now I'm taking a piece of satin ribbon and I'm just hot gluing down the inside cover of the book. Now I've got the first the cover of the book flipped back, and then I'm hot gluing this ribbon on. And then what I wanted to do was create a little tab, and that way you could just raise up this part on the inside of the book and be able to access that little hidey hole. Again, this is just something fun that I saw on Pinterest. I knew it didn't have to be perfect. I may do more of these as I explore some of these paper crafts. Comment and let me know if you guys are a paper crafter. Have you ever done this project before? So, and then I did hot glue the cover to this little flap as well, and that way the whole book right here will pull up. And I thought that was really neat. I also thought you could make like a jewelry box out of it if you put some feet on it. And you could also be more exact with your cutting, which definitely I was not. And so for these books, I had Mr. Romantic cut out some French lettering. I cut out I chose life is beautiful and some other French phrases. I thought it would be neat to do to make it look like a romantic French book. I used a French script on the computer. It's just regular white paper that we printed out. And so I'm taking some Elmer's glue and I'm just gluing this little script to the side of the book. That way it looks kind of like a cute little French book. And so I thought that was kind of a neat, fun little different thing to do. My son actually speaks French. He learned how to speak French in his high school classes. And then I also, on the top of the book, I did go over the top of the book with a layer of glue just to kind of seal in that paint just a bit. So my idea for these adorable, very simple, very peaceful little French remade books was to use what I had. I've been decluttering. You guys can go back and see some of my decluttering videos. I used books that I already had, painted them white with paint I already had, and just printed out those adorable French phrases. And I wanted to use them to bring height and dimension to my vignettes and arrangements. So I did not want to have any waste with this project, and so I'm just folding those extra book pages into kind of an accordion. So you just fold your paper back and forth, and then I'm cutting it to make paper shred. I wanted to create some paper shred with the book lettering. That way I could use it in some of my spring and Easter vignettes. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to take some E6000 glue, and in my decluttering process, I found these cute little Dollar Tree candle holders. So I'm going around the top of the candle holder with some E6000 glue, and then I'm adding in some dabs of hot glue as well. That way my project will be able to stand up quicker. And then I'm adding this little plate. Mr. Romantic brought home some extra plates for me to use. And so what I want to create here is some really adorable spring pedestals. Again, I love to add dimension and height to my arrangements, and so I thought these would be perfect. Now, here's how we're going to use the paper shred. I'm setting the little pedestal inside one of those Target Dollar Spot white little containers. They're $1 at Target Dollar Spot. They have them every season. And then I'm adding the paper shred around the base. I kind of wanted to give it a springtime vibe, like this pedestal was blooming out of this white base. And then I'm adding this darling nest to the top. So perfect. I actually created 2 of these little nests and 2 of the pedestals. So these will be a super fun way to add height to any of my cabinet displays. I can move them around and use them over and over again. And there are those lovebirds again. They came out super adorable, and this was perfect just to kind of snug in, because they're a smaller size, into this springtime vignette.
Can't believe I live in your thoughts. I think about you all the time, morning, evening, and midnight. Such a wonderful delight. Forgo, give up everything that I own. Yeah, I'd give it all up now just to be with you somehow. Unexpected love was found.
For the next Dollar Tree DIY, I want to transform my Dollar Tree Christmas bird into a springtime romantic little lovebird. So I'm trimming off some of the bling that was coming out of his tail, and then I am painting the top of his head with some of that aqua colored craft paint. I'm going to paint the top of his head and then his little wings and then that little spot on his back. And I did 2 of these birds because you guys know how I love to group my birds together and kind of make them into little lovebirds, nesting, ready for spring, doing some spring dreaming, and taking care of their baby eggs. Okay, completely corny, you guys, but hey, I love everything about spring. It is such a happy time, and here they both are, and then they're gonna nest together, all snugged up. So one was able to fit on one side, and then I just put the other one into this cute little nest. For this nest, I did rest this nest on a plate because I wanted to sit a little bit lower than the one that's back behind over by the picture frame, and this came out so perfect. I am super crushing on this aqua shabby chic French farmhouse kind of blue. Oh my goodness, I love this color for spring. It's so happy, pastel. I think it can also translate into Easter decor. But this spring, the pop of blue is just so happy and fresh and so much hope. And again, you guys, I am loving this spring sign. If you have a chance to make a spring sign or pick one up at a store, it definitely gave me lots of hope for spring. And then here's the entire picture. That mirror is also a vintage mirror. I promise you guys it's not dirty. And here it is. This is so fresh and lovely. I hope you guys are loving it. Comment and let me know. Are you doing some spring crafting this weekend? I have been eating chocolates like crazy. Oh my goodness, and crafting. So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me and crafting with me and having coffee with me. I hope you guys are having fun here. For this DIY, I cannot wait to share with you this beautiful Dollar Tree rustic garden spring French farmhouse style wreath inspired by the last round of DIYs that we did with a very garden spring French farmhouse flair. So let's get to this. I cannot wait to share this with you guys. For this Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create a really beautiful French farmhouse style wreath. So I'm taking a wire wreath form from Dollar Tree, and then I'm taking some evergreen garland. This is inexpensive garland I had left over from Christmas, and I'm just taking the evergreen branches and looping them in and around the edges of the wire garland. I used 2 pieces of garland to create this base. You could also use a grapevine base, or really whatever kind of base you have on hand would work. And then now that I have my garland created, I want to make an Olivia bow. So I'm using this wired black and burlap striped ribbon that I found at Walmart. It was $5 for the roll, but it was definitely worth the splurge for this because I knew I wanted to tie in a blessed sign DIY that I made. So you're just going to take the ribbon and loop it over on itself 3 times, and then you're going to cut 2 little notches in the center. I do have some Olivia bow wreath tutorials that I will link down below. So just cut 2 tiny notches in either side of your ribbon, and be careful, don't cut too far because you don't want the bow to fall apart. And then take a pipe cleaner and you're just going to twist the pipe cleaner on and then pull your loops out. You can also dovetail your ends by cutting upwards in a triangle direction. I guess that makes sense. I don't know. Just make the end of your bow look pretty. Okay, so now that we've got our bow ready to roll, we're going to do a bit of fluffing here. So you're just going to take the ribbon to make that dovetail in and crease it and then cut upwards. Be careful when you're cutting upward. I also decided to add in a little bit of burlap to the back of this bow just to give it some dimension and texture. This was just some burlap that I had left over from another project. I believe I got it at Walmart, but Dollar Tree also carries burlap ribbon. Okay, so now we're going to take a longer piece of burlap ribbon and I'm just going to loop it in and around the entire wreath. So just use those evergreen branches to kind of twist tie your burlap on. There's no real rhyme or reason, you just want to add some of that in. Then I'm going to take this piece of Dollar Tree greenery and take the evergreen and just kind of loop it around the base of this wreath. I want it to kind of stick out at the bottom. I want this wreath to look very French farmhouse, blooming woodland rustic theme. So I want to use a lot of greenery and neutral burlaps. Now I'm just twist tying my bow on and then I'm going to give it a bit of a fluffing. That's really the secret to a bow, is just continue to give it a nice good fluffing. Once I had my greenery on, I decided to add in one of those Dollar Tree grapevine wreath bases. This is optional, but I did want to give it that rustic woodland theme, so I'm just taking the little green evergreens and twist tying them on. So I did that in 3 different places, and then I took the little greenery piece and I looped it in and over the wreath, kind of to give it some more stability and also some dimension on this other side. So all of the greenery that I'm using, everything that I'm using in this wreath is from Dollar Tree except for the ribbon for the bow. And I believe that burlap also came from Walmart from last year, the year before last, but again, Dollar Tree also carries burlap. So I'm just taking some of that Dollar Tree onion grass. I poked a big grouping of onion grass up at the top and down below and then off to the side. And then you will see me kind of take it apart just a little bit and hot glue it in just to give it that extra bit of stability. I'm also using this piece of burlap to kind of go in and around the back of the wreath. I wanted to fill the wreath out. I really love to go really over the top with my creations, and so anyway, but yeah, so now I'm just adding in some greenery and you guys can see me dancing around. So I decided to have a just full out wreath crafting day. I was blasting Mumford & Sons. I love their music. I really was doing a jig throughout this whole video. So you guys, this is your laugh for the day. Super awkward mom dancing. There you go. So anyway, I'm just continuing to add in some of the Dollar Tree onion grass and some little pieces of greenery. I just took some wire cutters and cut these pieces down, and now I have in some little white bits and pieces that I wanted to add in. This is just more Dollar Tree florals. They carry some of those little white florals, and then I'm also adding in some white lilacs. These are so pretty. I used them in my centerpiece for my last DIY. If you guys need some spring inspiration, I've been doing a ton of spring and Easter DIYs. So I'm just hot gluing the ends of these and then putting them into the wreath. Now, to give this wreath a little bit of a wow factor, I'm taking some of those Dollar Tree clay pots and adding a twist tie into the center and just twist tying it at the base and then leaving a little spot that I can twist tie it onto the wreath. Now, this definitely took some maneuvering. I just twist tied it into the wire base part of the wreath. Make sure you get it twist tied in really good because you don't want these flopping out. So I did have to really get in there and twist tie it a bunch, and then I'm adding tons and tons of hot glue to the base of those little pots. And now I just added some hot glue to the center, and I'm adding in some beautiful Dollar Tree moss, again to give it that really pretty rustic woodland, kind of Frenchy, springtime really feel. Now I'm just adding in another layer of bows to the base of this wreath. I just decided on this part to use some of that jute twine. That way you couldn't see any funky colors. So I just tied that on to the base of the wreath. And now you're going to see me adding in some of those Dollar Tree ferns. I've really been loving these. I think they look pretty realistic and they're inexpensive. They come 5 or 6 on a bundle. And then I decided to clip off some fake lavender. Yeah, this was from the lavender bundle that I used in another DIY. So I just clipped off a couple of little pieces. I did want to give this wreath some sprigs of color. I also added in this super cute little purple bird that I found last season, I believe at TJ Maxx for a couple of dollars. I wanted a smaller, more realistic looking bird, but I didn't have any on hand and I wanted to finish this project. So anywho's, so I'm adding in now a bit of moss to the base of the bird, and now I'm taking some of those really pretty Dollar Tree speckled eggs. I'm adding in some hot glue and just hot gluing them in and around the wreath. And then I just continue to add some more eggs into the center of my bow and some greenery just to kind of fill things out a bit. And I am so over the moon in love with this creation. I have really been wanting to get my hands on some really pretty black and white ribbon. Again, I did that bless sign, and you guys are going to see it as I pan around a little bit later in this video, but here's a beautiful close-up. I am very thrilled with this, super inexpensive, almost all Dollar Tree items, and I think this came out very high-end for a teeny tiny budget. So for my candle, I'm just burning one of my Christmas candles. Actually, it was Noel, but it was green, so I went ahead and added it to this tablescape. This is the tablescape that we created with the 6 DIY Dollar Tree French Farmhouse Easter baskets. This was my inspiration for this wreath, and I think it really works really well. I'm really pleased with it. And the other thing I wanted to do too is just to take you guys outside. A lot of you asked how my garden bike floral is doing. Again, we did this in another DIY that you can find a couple videos back. I did a really cute little Dollar Tree bike, but here are some of my spring flowers. They're popping out of the ground and I cannot resist sharing that with you guys. Also, my little spring floral in the bike is holding up pretty good considering how much rain and crazy weather we've had. And one of you asked to be introduced to Tinky, my cat, and there she is. She was hanging out with me for just a bit outside. It was actually kind of warm today. We were able to get outside for just a little bit, and then of course she had to come in to visit with me and see what was going on in my crafty land. The other thing I wanted to share with you guys is I'm also changing out my Grove Collaborative Mrs. Meyer's cleaning scents to the honeysuckle to give some of those spring vibes. I do have a coupon code below if you guys want to try some delicious smelling cleaners. You can get a 5-piece free gift set with a $20 purchase. And thank you to everyone who has used my coupon code. So here's just an overview of how my dining room is looking. I am so over the moon in love with this. Now, I do feel like I need to add in just a tiny bit of some very thin, maybe pastel pink florals. The other thing is, you guys, I found pastel candy corn at Tuesday Morning, in case you're looking for that. Anywhoosie, here's that blessed sign, and this is why I wanted to find that black and white ribbon to kind of tie this all together. I have the blessed sign hanging over my craft cabinet there, and then moving into my dining room and just doing a quick little pan around. I did take all of the greenery out of that cabinet. I really wasn't pleased with that. I think I just want to keep it neutrals. And then here is my tablescape, again with those DIYs that we created. I'm kind of crushing on this, and I'm so ready for spring. I hope you guys are loving this. Comment and let me know, what is your favorite thing about spring dreaming, or your favorite plant that grows in the springtime?
So you guys, I love to decorate. I love to share with you guys some really inexpensive, fun ways you can spruce up your home in these long winter months with some spring and Easter ideas. So you guys, get out your glue guns, get out your glitter and paint, and let's get to crafting.
For the first Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create some super adorable crocheted eggs. So just take some of those plastic eggs from the Dollar Tree and one of their pieces of crochet lace, hot glue one side, and then wrap the lace around your egg. Then take your scissors and trim off the excess fabric. And then you're just going to take your hot glue gun and continue to glue the rest of the lace onto your cute little Easter egg. Now be careful with this because it's really easy to burn your fingers. I have tough fingers because I craft so much, but just be really careful. You can use a little spatula to put the lace down. That might also help. So you're just going to continue to glue in and around your egg on each side, and then again just trim off that excess fabric. Once I had my doily glued down, I took a piece of blue satin ribbon and just hot glued on the bottom, and then ran the ribbon in and around the top part of my egg, and that's going to kind of cover up some of my glue work. So just continue to hot glue it till you get to the other side, and then you're going to cut this off. Again, you guys can get really creative with this and customize this to match whatever pastel Easter decor you love. And then I decided to get a little extra, of course, and add a little bow to the side. And then I added a little dollop of hot glue inside of my bow and added some cute little pearl details. I get my pearls at Michael's, but Dollar Tree also sells pearls. Oh my goodness, you guys, these come out so adorable, and they're so perfect to add to any little Easter vignette, specialty basket, floral arrangement, anything that suits your fancy. They're very inexpensive and very fun to do, and a great way to class up those cheap plastic eggs. So for the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create a really adorable fabric egg. So again, just take one of those plastic eggs and hot glue a piece of scrap ribbon, and I started with the whiter side, and so I just hot glued a dab of hot glue, wrapped it around, and then dabbed some on the end, and then wrapped it around the end. And I am going with kind of the same colors that are on this egg, so if it peeks through, it will kind of match. I love using these pastel for Easter colors. They're so beautiful and perfect. And then I'm just adding a dab of hot glue to the bottom and wrapping the egg with some really pretty satin ribbon. Dollar Tree sells satin ribbon in all different colors. This was some that one of my wonderful subscribers had sent to me, and I'm really loving it. I'm such a ribbon junkie. So thank you again, Lisa. I'm loving having all this pastel ribbon for all of my Easter projects. So I'm just continuing to wrap this ribbon around the egg, and you guys can get super creative and fun with this. Use all of your scrap laces and trims. If you're like me, you have a lot of little scraps laying around, and then you can tie a really pretty bow, or Dollar Tree also sells these cute little white flowers, and you can add some really darling little embellishments to your beautiful fabric satin egg. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create some really adorable little paper towel toilet paper carrots. So just cut your paper towel roll in half, or your toilet paper roll, and then you're going to roll it into a cone. And once you have your cone shape, you're just going to hot glue the cone together. And then you're going to trim off the extra spot of cardboard, and I did reinforce mine with another dab of hot glue. And then once you have your cone shape, you can take your scissors and trim off the top, because that's going to be the top part of your carrot. I made one of these with a paper towel roll and two with a toilet paper roll. So then you're going to take your orange ribbon that you can find at Dollar Tree, and you're going to hot glue at the end. Leave a little bit of excess because you're going to kind of pinch it together to make the carrot point. Be careful again not to burn your fingers on this part. And then you're just going to start to wind your orange ribbon up your carrot. So you're going to start at the skinny end and wind it up towards the top. And every couple of windings, I hot glued it. That way it kind of stayed on. So you can see I'm just kind of rolling it and turning it as I go, and continuing to kind of add a dab of hot glue, and then rolling it and turning it a little bit more and adding some more hot glue until I get all the way to the top. Once you get to the top of your carrot, you can just kind of hot glue that little bit of excess in and around the top edge, and then trim off your ribbon piece. And then you can take some of that Dollar Tree onion grass and hot glue a dab inside of your carrot and add some of that cute little onion grass. And I also wanted to make it kind of different lengths, so I took my scissors and gave it a little haircut, kind of jagged. That way it looked a little bit more natural, and then I added the rest of the little onion grass. No scraps left behind here, guys. And then I'm adding some more hot glue in, and then just some Dollar Tree moss, and that gives me my carrot topper. So I created 3 of these, and they look so adorable in this lavender floral arrangement that I'm going to share with you guys. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, we are going to create some really cute little herb sticks for your garden or floral arrangements. So just take some of those Dollar Tree wooden blocks that you find in the Jenga game and hot glue them together. I used 4 blocks to hot glue together, and then I just used one of those wide wooden popsicle sticks, and I added a dab of hot glue to the popsicle stick, and then hot glued my little topper on. And now I'm just going to paint the front of it. I only painted the front part of these. I wanted them to match in with some of my pastel Easter floral arrangements, so I chose this really cute little craft paint. It's the apple barrel craft paint that you can get at Walmart in kind of that shabby chic aqua color. And then once I had painted these, I did let them dry for about an hour to make sure that they were all dry. And then I took a Sharpie and I wrote some herbs on there. I wrote basil, and then I did lavender for another one. Now I do need to get a paint pen because my Sharpie was a little bit wobbly and didn't really want to write on here really good, but this is what I had on hand, so we're going with it. So I did a lavender, and then a basil, and then a thyme, because I actually do like to grow herbs in my back gardens. And then I did want to go ahead and add the cute little lavender sign to this faux lavender floral arrangement with those darling carrots, and this came out really adorable, you guys. Oh my goodness, so cute and ready for a very festive Easter. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create a super cute little Easter vase. So just take some of that brown paper that you find in the gift wrap section, and then begin to add in your plastic Easter eggs. This is so easy, you guys. Just add in those eggs, and you have a really adorable festive little vase that you could add bows to, flowers into, whatever suits your fancy. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create a super adorable Olivia bow. So just take some of that Dollar Tree ribbon and wrap it over on itself. So just continue to loop it over on itself until you get about 3 loops. Then you're going to find your center of your bow and fold it in half, and then take your scissors and notch each side, just tiny notches because you don't want your bow to come loose. And then we're going to customize it and make it an Easter Olivia bow. So add in whatever ribbon of your choice. I chose this kind of carrot colored raffia that Dollar Tree sells, and I'm just making a tie right here in the center that's really going to hold my bow together, and then I'm going to pull my loops out and do some fluffing. Again, the secret to my bows is lots of fluffing, you guys. Now I did have this purple ribbon on hand, and I went ahead and tied a bow with this ribbon, and then I'm going to hot glue it and add it to the center of my Olivia bow just to give it some dimension and some texture. And then once we have that added, we're going to take one of our Easter eggs and we're going to break it in half, and then you're going to add a big dollop of hot glue to the center of your bow because we're going to create a really cute custom Easter bow. So hot glue each side of the egg onto there, and then you're going to add some hot glue to the outer part, and we're going to make a little nest with our Easter egg. And then we can add some more hot glue and add in either more nesting, or I chose to add in some paper so it kind of looks more like a nest. So I'm just adding in some of that paper that I had left over from another project, and then I'm also adding in a cute little chickadee here. This is a pink chickadee, and I added also a tiny sparkly egg up to the top. And this is this adorable little chickadee's nest. And then one of those Dollar Tree faux moss blocks finished it off just perfectly. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create an adorable little indoor faux herb garden. So just take some of that Dollar Tree paper and some of the lavender, and I'm going to take the bunches and kind of spread them out and then just bend over the bottom. That way if I want to use it in something else I can. And then I'm going to use some lavender on the other side, and I'm just bending that stem down as well. And then I decided to use these cute little white flowers and greenery in the center part. And then of course I could not resist adding in the darling carrots that we made earlier. I'm just kind of setting them in here. If you wanted this to be more sturdy and permanent, you could also use some styrofoam down in here. And then I'm adding in my little herb sign that says lavender. I thought that looked really cute and super adorable, just oh so perfect. And then I thought to give it that shabby chic flair that I love, I added in some of those Easter eggs. And also the base of this I found at Dollar Tree and just painted white. I decided that my Easter egg vase needed that extra pop and over-the-top sparkle that I love, so I added my Easter Olivia bow to the side. Originally I thought I was going to add it to the herb garden, but I wanted the herb garden to appear just a bit more natural, and so I thought this came out super adorable. I also popped in some of those cute little Dollar Tree lime colored daisies to the top. I believe I found those sometime last summer, but they should still have them again. And so here is the full arrangement. My mom had given me these adorable Easter plates, and then I found a little bunny at Target Deli Spot, just stuffed some grass in, and then here is our little lavender herb basket. And I also found this darling, adorable, cutest, sweetest bunny ever at TJ Maxx. I could not resist her. And there's that Dollar Tree little wreath that we had created earlier in one of my Valentine DIYs. I will link that down below, but I'm really loving this. So soft, so sweet, oh so perfect for my shabby chic cottage and a little Easter vignette. So here's how I created this super adorable Easter vignette. I just laid down my lace tablecloth and then this super adorable lime green table runner that had lace on it that I found at burlapfabric.com. I will leave a coupon code below to get you guys a little discount. And then I took one of those Dollar Tree picture frame DIYs that we had created a couple of DIYs back, and I just turned it sideways where the glass was on there, and then I added that little faux moss wreath to the top, and then I decided to add my super adorable bunny. She just looked so cute and so perfect for this spot. And then I added in the little herb garden and the really cute little bunny planter with the adorable eggs, and I just really think it came out so perfect, so festive, absolutely adorable. It is making me so ready for spring, you guys. I don't know about you guys, but I am ready for spring. I think I'm getting spring fever with all the cold and the rain, but this little vignette is definitely cheering me up.
is. You guys, it's time for a new season. It's time to redecorate our homes for spring and Easter. So we've got to get to do some crafting so we have plenty of time to display these beautiful items that we're going to make. So get out your glue guns, get out your glitter and paint, let's play some fun music, and let's get to crafting.
In today's video, I will be sharing with you how to create a really beautiful over-the-top spring floral arrangement using mostly items from the Dollar Tree. So I get a lot of questions about my mantle displays. I wanted to dedicate one video to this. So I'm going to be removing my Valentine's Day floral arrangement. I also created this using mostly items from the Dollar Tree, and I do have a video where I created this, but when I take apart a display, I group all the items together with greenery together and then florals together. And then the next thing I like to do is I like to clean off my mantle. I clean it off with my favorite springtime fragrance by Mrs. Meyer's, the honeysuckle. It is so delicious. If you guys want to try some of this, I do have a 5-piece free gift set available with my coupon code. And then I also like to give my mirror a really good cleaning, kind of a little spring cleaning and decorating at the same time. So we're going to start out with one of those Dollar Tree floral planters, and what I did is just painted this one white, and then I'm adding a big giant dollop of hot glue to the base of this and then a styrofoam block. My idea is to make a 2-tiered floral planter. So now I'm just adding more hot glue to that first piece of styrofoam, and I'm going to glue another piece of styrofoam on top of that. Now this is styrofoam from the Dollar Tree. It's the white square styrofoam, and I just cut that second one in half. Now I want to glue another Dollar Tree flowers and garden planter on top of this one. I was going to paint this white so it would match, but I want this floral arrangement to really feel like we're gardening outside, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go in with some sandpaper and distress the white paint that I had originally painted on that first planter to kind of give it a little bit more of an aged look and match in more with that galvanized kind of metal container. And then I'm adding in another piece of styrofoam to the top. So in total, this took 2 blocks of the styrofoam floral foam from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm taking a big long piece of onion grass and I'm just positioning them where I feel like they're going to display nicely. So I decided to go ahead and poke one end to the top and then one over to the side. And you guys get creative with this. I really want this floral arrangement to speak springtime. I want my cute little bunny that I found at TJ Maxx to look like he is over there kind of hanging out in a lot of greenery. So I always start with my greenery first. I'm also adding in a Dollar Tree fern to the top. Now I'm going to add in one of those Dollar Tree sprigs of pink cherry blossoms, and then I'm adding in that really tall white Dollar Tree floral. I cannot for the life of me remember which one that one is. Comment and let me know if you guys know. I added one of those to the top and then off to the right hand side. And then I'm adding in another Dollar Tree white cherry blossom to kind of offset that really tall one. And then I'm adding in some of those Walmart lavender picks and then some Dollar Tree just white bright roses. So really get creative. Again, you guys, customize this to your colors and use what you have on hand. I'm using everything I have on hand. I'm really just reworking this floral. And I found this beautiful draping piece of greenery at Michael's. I don't know if you guys saw more awkward mom dancing in this video. I'm listening to my Mumford & Sons again, and you guys liked it when I danced last time. Anyway, onto the floral. Add in more of that beautiful draping greenery to the other side to offset the one on the other side. Now I'm just going to begin to add in some more greenery to the back. Again, I really want this floral to scream spring. I do have a really beautiful vintage garland that I picked up at the thrift store, believe it or not. And it's just greenery with kind of some trailing white flowers. They do have some similar ones like these at Michael's or Hobby Lobby if you guys need a garland. You could also use more florals to kind of create this cascading look. I had this on hand, so if you guys have some garlands, just kind of drape some greenery in and around the back and off to the side. Again, I really want this floral to appear like my bunny is out in the woods or in the garden, and it's blooming and overflowing with greenery and springtime vibes and all that wonderful stuff for spring. Now that I have my greenery added, I'm using 3 to 4 long stem pale pink roses. These were the same ones I used in my Valentine display. I'm just reworking them, and when I'm poking them into the styrofoam, I'm leaving them very long on their stem. That way they kind of drape out and really look very gardeny. I also would tell you for this floral arrangement, I used some double-sided sticky tape underneath the floral arrangement to make sure that it didn't move around. I also had this small little hand weight that you used to work out with that I decided to add into the base. I just kind of scooted it down where the styrofoam wasn't, just to be sure that this doesn't topple off. Some of those greenery pieces that I added from Michael's are a bit heavy, and so I really wanted this to stabilize. Now, you guys could also use rocks in the bottom of your planter, or you could use sand, anything that has just a bit of weight to it if you feel like you need that because of the tier at the top and some of the florals are kind of cascading over. And then I just added in some more onion grass, a little bit of moss, and a couple of pieces of those Dollar Tree ferns to kind of cover in and around that area and to really give it that blooming effect. I also decided to add in some lavender and some pink to my bunny's hairpiece. She didn't have any, and I really wanted it to kind of go together, very custom, like she's been playing in this little grouping of flowers. So here is the floral arrangement. I hope you guys are loving it. Comment and let me know what you think about the rework on this. If you like this 2-tier planter idea, I really think it's wonderful. I think it came out very high-end, very custom, something you would see in a craft store or a floral store for quite a bit more, and we did it using mostly items from the Dollar Tree and some things that we had on hand. And I love the subtlety of the little bunny poking out. So now to my little cherub planter off to the side, I'm just adding in some more Dollar Tree, just little white florals, and then I'm kind of poking them in and around to kind of drape them out. I added in some of that Dollar Tree paper shred and then some of that Dollar Tree moss on top of the paper shred. So the paper shred acted more as a filler. And then a little Dollar Tree fern, and then Dollar Tree has these really cute little speckled eggs. I decided to add the eggs into this little basket or this little cherub statue just kind of off to the side. I may go back in as it gets closer to Easter and add some egg picks to this floral arrangement, but I feel like for now. And then I also put in some of those cute little Dollar Tree carrots. They're so adorable. I also have a DIY on doing your own carrots using toilet paper rolls. If you guys want to go back and check that out, I have a spring, Easter, Valentine playlist with a lot of different spring, Easter kind of bridal DIYs. So I wanted to share with you all, I created this floral arrangement to mix in with the really beautiful French farmhouse wreath that we did last week. These are also linked in my playlist, and also the big tablescape that we did that's kind of very French farmhouse inspired. So I am in love with this. You guys comment and let me know what you think about this. I really loved the Valentine's Day floral, and it's actually very similar. I loved the Valentine's Day floral so much, but I wanted to pull a little bit of the pink out, add in that purple to tie in with my dining room, and then just put in a couple of roses kind of staggered in and around. And then there's my little bunny poking out from her beautiful little garden display here. Again, I think as Easter approaches, I may add like a cute little burlap kind of banner draped underneath the mantle, or a couple of little eggs popped in. I'm not really sure. Comment and let me know if you guys think this needs something else, or if it's over the top enough. You guys know I love to go over the top. So I wanted to give you just a little peek around my living room. Here it is from a further back view. I think it goes really nicely with this blessed sign Dollar Tree DIY that we created. And then there's that Dollar Tree DIY wreath that I shared with you guys in the last video. Again, I will have that in my Dollar Tree Spring playlist. And then here's a beautiful Dollar Tree Pottery Barn inspired garden baskets that I shared with you all. I am really in love with this. This is the first time I've really played with so many inspiring greens. But again, I was really inspired by Pottery Barn, by spring, and just really being ready for spring to be here. I am so ready for that. I love all the seasons, but I definitely feel like spring is one that I anxiously look forward to, that transition, because I do love to garden. You guys comment and let me know if you like to play in your garden. Do you have a vegetable garden? Do you have a flower garden? I would love to hear what you'll have going on and what your favorite spring fun thing is that you look forward to. Maybe birds or flowers or gardens. Anyway, I hope you guys are loving this DIY. I hope you're inspired again, and I thank you for blessing me with all of your kind comments, and just here's another peek around my home.
Full stop. Can't believe I live in your thoughts. I think about you all the time, morning, evening, and midnight. Such a wonderful delight. Everything that I own, yeah, I'd give it all up now just to be with you somehow. Unexpected love was found. You're the rose in a garden, and it shows if I'm honest. You're the leaves in mid-August, I've come out here to say that I love you. Ooh.
So thank you all so much for joining me on this crazy crafting journey. I love you guys so much. Crafting is so good for your soul. The community here on my page is so amazing. I love you guys so much. You're always so positive, so uplifting. I just want to snug every single one of you. Thank you all so much. If you're new, I would love to have you subscribe and be part of this YouTube family. You guys mean the world to me. You truly make my heart sparkle and shine. Thank you so much, and we will talk to the next video. Bye-bye.
So slow. Hold you in my arms, won't let go.
And if you guys are like me, you decorate with hearts year round, but I just had to share these with you guys. So without further ado, you guys plug in your glue guns, get out your glitter and paint, and let's get to crafting.
For the first Dollar Tree DIY, we are going to create a beautiful wooden ombre heart. So I started out with the Ocean Mist spray paint, and I gave my wooden heart from Dollar Tree a coat of Ocean Mist spray paint. Then I'm going in to make the colors a little bit more vibrant, and in the center part I'm using some aqua craft paint. It's the apple barrel that I found at Walmart. I love these soft pastels, and then along the edges I'm using kind of a purplish color. It's more actually of a lilac, and then I'm doing both sides of the heart, and then I'm going to go in with a little bit of pink and just kind of blend that in. I'm kind of dry brushing this, so I'm dabbing the paintbrush off just a bit on the napkins, and then I'm adding some cute little painted clothespins to the top of this. I want to be able to use this in a banner. Or the other thing I wanted to share with you guys is I shared with you all a picture of my son as a baby, and here he is almost all grown up with his beautiful girlfriend. So I actually ended up using this outside in my outside display, and I cannot wait to share with you guys this entire display. It came out so adorable, an Easter transition with these pastels. Now the second Dollar Tree DIY we're going to do, we're just going to take some of those painted clothespins. I just painted these with some craft paint as well, and I'm adding them to a thick piece of string. And then Dollar Tree has these large glittery foam hearts, and they work perfectly with this. So I'm just clipping the large hearts to the top of this, and each one of these bags comes with 12 hearts, 6 were pink. So I ended up using 3 hearts to make 2 different banners. I used one inside and then one outside, and they came out absolutely perfect. And then here's the one that I used outside. I did end up taking one of the pink hearts off of the center of this and just using that wooden heart. I just thought it kind of gave that pastel pop, and it will work perfectly outside on my sweet little garden bench. And then for the next DIY, we are going to paint my garden bike white. Mr. Romantic actually taped it off 2 weekends ago, and I was able to paint it on a really nice day. And then for the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create a beautiful floral in my bike. So I'm using the candy pink spray paint, and I spray painted 2 of those little terracotta pots. And then I'm taking some foam from Dollar Tree and I'm adding some foam. Now this is the basket of my bike. It was painted pink before, and so I went ahead and added the little pots into this because I want to see how tall I'm going to make my floral. I want it to really look like a blooming springtime floral. So I'm starting out with some white cherry blossoms, and then also, you guys, I just want to let you know, Dollar Tree has these large florals, and they are so perfect to use for the back of your floral arrangements. So I'm starting out with these larger white cherry blossoms, and then this larger white floral. I kind of want to offset them and make them just a little bit different. So I'm just poking them into the styrofoam, and then I wanted to add a purple one. Again, I'm really going for that pastel aesthetic. I want to add this to my garden bike that I repainted white, and I want this to transition into Easter. I really feel like my red bike didn't transition into any season, so I really want to make this a transitional piece. And now I'm adding in some pink peonies. I left them on the stem for this side because I kind of want this side to appear a little bit higher. Almost like an English garden, these florals are like really blooming. So I'm just picking in some peonies to the other side of this arrangement. Now I'm adding in some beautiful white flowers to the center part of the basket. I'm just clipping them off with my wire cutters that I stole from Mr. Romantic's garage stash. And then I'm adding in some bundles of lilacs. I am so in love with the Dollar Tree spring florals. These lilacs look really real to me, so I left them on their stems and then just kind of fanned them out. The same thing with these smaller bundles of the pink cherry blossoms. These are really a great deal on florals. Florals can be so expensive, but I think these are absolutely perfect and perfect for this season. Now at the end, I'm adding in some gypso just to kind of give it a little bit of greenery in and around the bottom. And I'm so in love with this. Oh my goodness, you guys, this came out absolutely perfect. And I'm just adding in a couple more touches of florals. I had a little bit of white florals left over, and so I'm adding in some of those white florals. Really, when you go to pick florals from Dollar Tree, definitely choose a color palette that you enjoy, that is going to accent whatever home decor you're going for. And then I had a little bit of lilac left, so I went ahead and pushed the green leaves up and then clipped them off the base of this and then added them a little bit lower to the rest of the floral. And it really gave it this English garden blooming floral appearance to me. To finish off this adorable planter project, I am just using some Dollar Tree green moss. I just added a big dollop of hot glue to the top part of my styrofoam, and then I'm grabbing some moss and just pushing that into it. It's going to be contained in this basket, so I'm not really worried about it flying off. But look at how adorable this is. It really looks like it's a blooming spring floral arrangement. I also added in, for the next Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to make over one of my Christmas garlands. So I had this inexpensive Christmas garland that I created for outside my home. It just has white Dollar Tree mesh intermixed with some lace. So I'm going to take off the Christmas bows, and then I'm going to pull out my pink Dollar Tree mesh and then my white Dollar Tree mesh. And I'm just going to take the little evergreen pieces and I'm going to twist it on. So you just twist it on and then you kind of create a little poof and then you twist it on again. So I already had kind of a base with the white and the lace. And so if you guys wanted to create a fuller look like this, you'll want to go ahead and use another roll of mesh, and I'm just twisting it on. This is super easy. You create a poof and then you pull your mesh, and I'm doing 2 rolls at a time to kind of save time. I thought this was going to be a super fun way to reuse my Christmas tree garland and give it a little bit of festivity. I really feel like my outside just needs that pop, that extra fullness, because I do like to do tons of garden and planting in the summer, and I just feel like it seems a little dull right now. So I thought, well, let's go for it and use one of our Christmas tree garlands and make it super festive. So here we go. For this garland, I used 2 rolls of the Dollar Tree white mesh and 2 rolls of the Dollar Tree pink mesh. And then I had a wide lace that I added in and around the mesh. And so it doesn't have to be perfect, you guys. Just create little poofs. And then I also think that this is such a fun way to reuse your Christmas tree garland and give your home just a bit of a festive appearance. I thought about adding it to my garden bench, but I really think that it came out so perfect here. And so to my garden bench, I decided to add a really cute little burlap table runner. It has lace running down the center. And then I'm just writing welcome on my cute little sign. I ended up bringing my burlap wreath out, and I showed you guys how to DIY this wreath a couple of videos back. I will link it down below. And then I also brought out my garden bunny and added some Dollar Tree moss stones to his little basket here. And so this is super festive. I feel like it's really subtle. I don't know. It just really lifted my spirits. When my daughter came home from school, she was so excited to see it. She was in awe and very excited for this cute little. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create a really cute shabby chic style vintage faux iron fence. So I'm just taking some of that Ocean Mist spray paint. This is what I had on hand, and I'm just giving it 1 coat on the front, and then I did go ahead and flip them over and give them just a little tiny bit on the back. That way they weren't this dark gray color. Mr. Romantic always makes fun of me for not painting the backs of things. And then I'm just taking a piece of sandpaper and I'm gently distressing this to kind of give it the look of real iron. I didn't do anything super crazy fancy with these garden gates. I just used them exactly what they were intended for garden gates. So in my front garden, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's some really cute little irises and jonquils that are going to pop up very soon. So you can see they're kind of budding out of the ground, and my irises are purple, and that's also why I added some purple to my front garden bike. I think this is absolutely adorable, so perfect. And then I added my husband's mother's little angel cherub, because this is kind of like our angel garden out front, and I really think it came out super adorable. It's definitely a happy space, and I share with with you guys before that the neighborhood kids walk by on their way to the bus stop, and I really hope this brings a smile to their face.
DIY romantic Dollar Tree decor ideas. These are going to be geared kind of towards a bridal idea, but you guys can use these ideas in your home on a daily basis. I love to use romantic decor. If you guys are new to my channel, I do tons of DIYs. I love everything heart, family, and home, and I definitely love adding a touch of florals and romance to my home. It's just who I am. So thank you guys for being here. Plug in those glue guns, get out your glitter and paint, and let's get to crafting.
For the first Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create a really beautiful heart-shaped pillow. So I'm taking that Dollar Tree heart wreath form and a piece of linen fabric that I had left over from an old curtain and one of the last Trash to Treasure DIYs that I shared with you guys. What I'm doing is I'm just outlining this entire wreath form with a very light colored marker. I'm going to outline 2 pieces of this curtain and then cut them out with my fabric scissors. Once I have both of my fabric hearts cut out, I'm just going to begin to glue them together. So I'm using hot glue for this project. I'm just gluing around the side of the heart, and then I'm going to take the other piece of fabric and just kind of press it down. So I kind of press it down as I go in and around the fabric. This is such a great DIY to do. If you guys have leftover fabric or a fabric that you don't want to part with, you can make this really darling heart-shaped pillow. Now for me, I had this in mind to do kind of as a bridal pillow, but I'm also going to be using it in my living room in that little DIY basket that we did. So you're just going to continue to work in and around the heart shape until you get to the other side, and then you want to definitely leave a fairly large opening so you can stuff your heart with some fluff. I used some stuffing from an old pillow. You guys use whatever you have on hand that works well for you. Also be sure to turn your heart inside out. That way you have some nice clean edges. So now I'm just taking some of that leftover pillow fluff from another pillow that I don't care for that had some stains on it, but it was still good fluffing. So I'm just stuffing it into the heart. I made sure to get towards the ends of the heart first, and then I also kind of played with the cotton stuffing to make sure that it got in and around the entire heart. Now, I didn't overstuff it too much once I got to the end because I knew I needed to glue it together. So I just tucked the ends under and together. Be careful on this part, you don't want to burn yourself, but you're just going to very slowly begin to glue that last seam together. Again, you guys could sew this, but I love my hot glue gun. It works perfectly for me. So here's the heart pillow, just plain, if you like that more simplistic look. But I decided to take a Dollar Tree doily and cut it in half and add that to my pillow. I'm going for a really rustic farmhouse, shabby chic vibe on this one. I think this would be a great thing to do too if you were doing a wedding and you wanted to do something borrowed, something new, something old, that kind of idea. You could use one of your grandma's linens or your mom's or just something like that. And then I'm taking another piece of the doily and I'm gluing it in and around the heart just to kind of give it some character. Again, this is totally up to you, but I added a couple more patches of the doily. Now I'm just making a shoelace bow, so I'm just tying a bow like I would tie on my shoes with that Dollar Tree white satin ribbon, and I'm going to hot glue it to the center of the pillow. Now I was going for a little bit more of a rustic vibe, so I decided to add a little bow too with some twine to the center as well. And then I'm just taking the twine, and here's the bridal idea, and I'm tying a ring on there. So if you were using this as a bride, you could tie both your rings on there and your little ring bearer would have the cutest ring bearer pillow, or it's a really nice memento, or just a great way to add some romantic touches to your beautiful home decor. You could also tie a little bow to the top and hang it. I have little hearts hanging in and around my home as well. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, we are just going to take some of those Dollar Tree ferns, and this is just a glass vase that I had chalk painted with you guys in another one of my DIYs, and I added some nautical rope to the top. So I'm taking some of those Dollar Tree ferns and adding them into the vase, and then I had these big, beautiful, fluffy roses left over from another project, and I decided to add a couple of these in. I believe I found these at Michael's or TJ Maxx, and I used a discount code with them. So I'm adding in some more of those beautiful little florals. These are some of those Dollar Tree florals that kind of trail in and around and down. Comment and let me know if you guys know what these are called. I was so excited to find these at the Dollar Tree. They're absolutely beautiful, and they really add some dramatic effect to any arrangement that you're working with. Now, look at how beautiful this is. I was looking on Pinterest to see kind of what the vibe of a rustic wedding would be, and they really like to use a lot of fluffy roses and greenery. I think it goes perfectly with this pillow and absolutely beautiful and perfect really for any display. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, I'm taking some contact paper and I'm laying it over a Dollar Tree mirror, and then I'm putting the mirror back into the frame, but I'm putting it back in backwards because I want the flat part of the frame to show out. And then I'm taking some of those Dollar Tree popsicle sticks and I'm cutting them to fit the short end of this frame. So what I want to do is I want to create kind of a rustic like wooden frame for this. So I've got the Dollar Tree contact paper that looks like wood, and then I'm going to add in my popsicle sticks, but I want the popsicle sticks to kind of overlap on to the frame. So I'm going to glue them on one side, and so the way you want to glue them is glue them really close to the edge of the frame on the inside part. And of course I did cut them to fit, and I just used some wire cutters and then glue to the outside of it. So you'll just use the original frame to glue both of your popsicle sticks on. I hope that makes sense to you guys. But basically I'm just creating a larger frame to go around the smaller frame. What I want to do is give this kind of a wooden effect and then paint it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that to both sides of this frame with my popsicle sticks, and you're going to want to get them really close together, and it's okay if there's a tiny gap in the center of both the popsicle sticks because we're going to paint over that. Again, you're going to do the exact same thing to the other side. Now, once I had the shorter sides done, I wanted to glue just one layer of popsicle sticks to the longer side of the frame because I want to create kind of, again, an overlap with the popsicle sticks so they cover up the little tabs on the inside of the frame. So I'm just gluing now, again, popsicle sticks the entire way on this long side, and so you're going to glue on the inside of the frame, and then you're going to put your popsicle stick on, and then you're going to glue on more towards the outside of the frame. So you're just gluing two layers side by side. I hope that this is making sense, you guys. I really love how this project came out, but describing it, hopefully you guys can just watch what I'm doing. You're going to do that to both sides, so here's a close-up of how it looks. That last set of popsicle sticks that we glued on overlaps the shorter side. And now we're just taking some brown paint. This is Apple Barrel Craft paint, in the color Coffee Bean. This is just what I had on hand, but I think it looks really nice with this. And then of course I am going to do some layers because I want the popsicle sticks to kind of appear like they're weathered wood. So I'm just going in and around that first layer. You could also paint these first, but I didn't do that, so I'm painting them after the fact. Now I'm just adding in some of that Dollar Tree white craft paint, and I'm just barely dabbing it. I'm dabbing it into the paint and then onto this piece of tissue and then in and around the little frame. This is kind of what I call like a dry brush technique, where you dab your paint on and then you dry brush it on. And then I did add a little bit of black paint onto that and then a little bit more brown paint over it to kind of make it have this wood appearance. And then I'm just taking some of my homemade chalk paint and I'm painting on Welcome. Now, you guys, this was a bit difficult for me because the chalk paint was really thick. So I really recommend if you guys have one of those paint pens, definitely go for that. But you guys know me, I try to use what I have on hand, and so this is what we're going with. So I'm just using my little Dollar Tree paintbrush to paint Welcome, and then I did end up going back over it with a second coat. I also decided to add some little kind of squiggly lines to bottom of it to give it a little bit of character. So I'm just using that same white chalk paint and drawing some little squiggles and then kind of like some little fake branch leaf type things. And here it is. I think it's so adorable. It was so inexpensive, you guys. And I think it looks really rustic and cute and perfect if you're wanting to welcome your guests. You can use this at your home. You could use it at your bridal table, wherever you need a really adorable little awesome DIY rustic style sign. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, you're going to need some Mod Podge, some Dollar Tree doilies, and a Dollar Tree charger, and some paint if you choose. So I'm just taking and I'm cutting the doilies out. This is the medium-sized doily. They come up in a large pack. And then I'm just Mod Podging the doily onto the plate. Now be very careful when you're doing this because the doilies are very delicate and they'll pull apart. But I am going for a rustic look with this DIY, so it wasn't the end of the world if I got a little bit of them snagged or whatnot. So I'm just adding the Mod Podge in and around and on top of the doily until it's very gluey. And then I'm going to let that dry. Now I did find out that I probably should have added about 2 layers of Mod Podge. So if you want it to stay and last really well, definitely use 2 layers of Mod Podge. So let one dry in between. Now I'm just adding in some of that brown and black craft paint kind of mixed together, and then I'm going in and around the edges of this plate. What I wanted it to look like was just like this really cool antique kind of rustic charger. Again, I definitely would add Mod Podge at the end too to seal it in. I didn't do that when I was finished, and so a little bit of my paint kind of chipped off, which isn't the end of the world. It's a rustic kind of cool plate. So I'm just adding in some more white paint in and around the base. And now I'm using one of those Dollar Tree DIYs that we made a while back to create this little cake stand with some plates, the candlestick, and then I'm adding some moss in and around the base and the top and my charger underneath. I really love this. I think it looks so perfect. And so here is kind of how I set the scene. I did 2 of those chargers. Each one was a little bit different. I didn't want them to match because again, I wanted it to be kind of rustic. So I'm adding in the chargers, and now I'm adding a cake plate on top of the other charger. And then I'm going to add that really darling little welcome sign. And I'm just sharing with you guys kind of how you could set up a welcome table at a bridal table, or just wherever you're wanting to set a really sweet, fancy kind of table. And then I'm adding that little heart in, and then a little place card and some really cute cherubs nestled down in the greenery. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, I want to create a rustic style place card. So I'm taking some of those Dollar Tree Jenga blocks. These are the wooden color left over from another DIY that I did where I used only the light colored Jenga blocks. And I believe that the Dollar Tree Jenga blocks are actually called the Wooden Tower game. So if you guys go to look for it in the kids section, I think it's called the Wooden Tower game. You guys comment and let me know if it's called something else. So I just glued all the little blocks together. I used 4 of them, and then I'm gluing this one to the back so it will stand up. And then just kind of, here's how it's going to look. Now, I would recommend using a paint pen probably on this or some little adhesive letters, but I had a Sharpie on hand, and so I'm just drawing on here Josh and Olivia. This is great if you guys are hosting a dinner that you want to put place cards at, and you could also put your date on there of your wedding. That would make a nice little thing for guests to take home. And then I'm going to hot glue one of those cute little white Dollar Tree flowers onto this just to give it that little extra bit of extra. You guys know I really love to get a little extra. Here it is nestled in with the greenery and the darling little cherubs. I think it's so rustic chic. Definitely farmhouse, cutesy, shabby chic, whatever style you guys want to go for, tweak it to make it your own for sure. And here it is all together. I am definitely in love with this, you guys. So for the next Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to use one of my Bath & Body Works candle lids and some more of that Dollar Tree contact paper. I'm just going to trace around the Bath & Body Works candle lid, and what I want to do is cut this out and then adhere this to the top part of the little candle thing to make a candle stand. So I see these everywhere in rustic wedding displays, and I thought, wow, this is a great way to recycle what you already have and make it into just a little spot where you can set whatever you please. I thought a candle looked perfect here, but again, you guys could put a place card holder here, you could put a glass of wine, whatever floats your boat. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, perfect, and very rustic chic for that perfect table setting that you're going for. So let's set the table for this rustic chic event. I'm using one of those burlapfabric.com burlap little round placemats, and then I'm adding in my rustic Dollar Tree chargers that we DIY'd, that cute little cake stand with Mr. Romantic and I's picture, our wedding picture. I used the black and white one because I thought that would be perfect. I added those cherubs to the base of the moss, and now we're adding in that darling little welcome sign, our cute little heart pillow. I'm putting a little stand behind it just so it will stand up. This beautiful floral arrangement off to the left. You could also add a guest book in front of all of this, and then that cute little place card that we created. And I am really in love with this. And then, of course, last but not least, that final touch of romance, a beautiful candle. Loving this. So beautiful, so chic, so romantic, and just perfect for that special occasion. I hope you guys are loving this. Comment and let me know if you have any special events coming up. I have had several of you comment and let me know that you're getting ready for weddings well into the fall, and so I think these would also be perfect around that season too. So I do have something to share with you all. I have been using this Awake essential oils that I get off the Grove Collaborative website, and it's a really lovely citrus kind of lemony fragrance. I'm using that during the day, during the winter time, to really give myself a little bit of boost. It really helps my mood. And then the other thing I'm doing is I'm using my Mrs. Meyer's honeysuckle scent. This is the all-purpose spray. I do have a 5-piece coupon code below if you guys want to try this. It's a 5-piece free gift set if you guys do a $20 purchase. I love using these aromatherapy cleaners. It just really sets the tone for my day to get my counters cleared off and cleaned up before I start my crafting business, or afterwards, or even in between to kind of clean up any kind of messes. Something about yummy smelling cleaners. I'm a total nerd for this kind of stuff, you guys. The other thing I'm doing is I'm using this really wonderful women's
to make this a
multi-bind.
bit of an event. I know that sounds really silly, but light a nice candle, put down a nice tablecloth, and really get yourself in the mood to organize. And also shop your home. You would be so surprised on how many organizing bins you actually already have. So I'm also hoping to set myself up for success by going ahead and getting my labels ready. So I just took some of these Dollar Tree labels, put them on this pink folder, cut them out, and then I'm hole punching the top. That way I already have my labels ready. I also cleaned out my bins and got them ready to add this super adorable fabric. A friend of mine custom made this fabric for me. It's just a ruffled Rachel Ashwell shabby chic print, and so I'm hot gluing it to the top of this bin. I'm hot gluing it on the edge and then just going around the inner lip of this Dollar Tree bin. This is one of my favorite Dollar Tree bins. It's the largest size they have. It also has holes in it so you can kind of see into it, and it's just a really great size, and I love that it's kind of this squarish rectangle, if that makes sense. So also I'm only doing the front of this bin. That way I can save some of the fabric because I was limited on how much fabric I had. Walmart also has really cute fabric that you can customize to whatever colors you enjoy. I had used this fabric on another project, and so I knew I loved it, and I knew that these bins worked for an organizing system in my pantry. So I've created 2 of these with this square, and then I'm just going in the front and then I'm hole punching, actually with my scissors. Be careful when you do this. And then I'm taking the string and running it through. Underneath this ruffled fabric is one of the holes in the Dollar Tree bin. Another reason I love this bin is you can go ahead and add a label to it. So I'm just using this piece of ribbon, stringing it through where I punched the fabric hole and adding my label. I went ahead and did this to all my bins. That way, as soon as I started organizing, I would be completely ready. I'm also doing it to these round bins. I wasn't for sure on these projects which bins I would use, but I did want them to go ahead and be ready. Again, setting myself up for organizing success. At least that was my intention. I thought I'll display them in a pretty Dollar Tree container. I will label them, and that way anybody using the bathtub in this bathroom can create kind of a spa feeling with these adorable bath bombs. I'm so excited to use them.
So you guys, I love to get my home a boutique gorgeous on a budget. I love to craft. I love to share these projects with you guys. So plug in your glue guns, get out your glitter and paint, and let's get to crafting.
For the first Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create this super adorable heart-shaped burlap wreath. So just take a piece of burlap from the Dollar Tree. I actually had this on hand from another project, and you're going to wrap it around the base of your wreath and then hot glue it to the other piece of the fabric on the other side. And then you're just going to take that piece of burlap, and you could also customize this to whatever color you wanted and what you're decorating with, but I wanted to go for a bit of a rustic shabby chic flair at my kitchen. So I'm just taking this piece of fabric and I'm gently wrapping it around the heart wreath. This is super easy. Just wrap the wreath, and again, customize this to whatever colors you enjoy. And once I got to the end, I just hot glued it again, and then I grabbed another piece of burlap and continued on this process. So just adding a dab of hot glue to the back and then winding it in and around the entire wreath form. The next part of this DIY, you're going to hot glue a piece of string on either side of the heart, and then I decided to add these darling little bows. I just used some Dollar Tree satin ribbon and the Dollar Tree lace and created some really cute little loopy bows with pearls in the center. So hot glue each side, and then I'm just hot gluing the bow on top of the string piece, and my idea is to add some heart stickers to the center of this. The heart stickers from Dollar Tree worked perfectly for this, and so I just peeled off the backing and applied them directly onto the string, and then you can also change these out for each holiday. So hopefully Dollar Tree puts out some. I am really loving how cute, rustic, and shabby chic this is. I have a rustic kind of shabby chic hutch in my kitchen, and it turned out oh so adorable and absolutely perfect. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, I just created these super cute candlesticks with some E6000 glue and the Target Dollar Spot little pedestals, and then I'm just adding some Dollar Tree rocks to this cute little container I found at Target Dollar Spot. And then for the candles, you're going to take a Dollar Tree doily and just wrap it around one of the Dollar Tree LED candles. This is a super fun last minute easy DIY. And then just take some of that cute little heart Dollar Tree ribbon or whatever ribbon of choice that you prefer and wrap it around your candle, and easy peasy. All you have to do is just tie it in a little knot. You could even tie it in a bow. You could add jewels, you could add stickers to this. I kept mine fairly simple because I wanted to use it on my entryway table, but I did want a little pop of Valentine's Day on my candles. Now definitely if you're going to be doing this, only do this on LED candles or candles that you do not plan on burning. And then I'm just dovetailing my ends by cutting the little triangle on the ends, and then you just go to the base of your candle and very gently cut off the rest of that doily. You could cut it up and make it as paper shred or just whatever you like. I also decided to do this same project with another doily. It had a bit of a wrinkle on it, but that's okay because you're just going to wrap it around a candle. So this is a larger LED candle I just had on hand, but I wanted to make these matching. So I just wrapped it around there, tied the little knot, and then dovetailed my ends, and then trimmed off the bottom, and voila, you have a very festive, very adorable, super cute set of candlesticks that you spent almost next to nothing on. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create some cute little custom pictures. So I'm just taking a 5x7 photo frame from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take one of those 3 packs of bags. I absolutely love this pink and white stripe. I'm using the glass to kind of measure it, and then I'm just going to cut around it to cut out a piece of the bag that will fit right back into this cute little photo frame. So I'm just taking a marker and I'm going to trace it out, and then I'm going to use that to cut around, and that way it'll fit perfectly back in there. I did notice that those handles were a bit tricky to cut with my regular bow scissors, and so I did have to get a sturdier pair of scissors to cut through those handles. But this is such a fun and easy way to decorate. Even if you guys go to like a TJ Maxx or Target, signs are at least between $3 and $10. So these are super adorable, and these bags go a really long way, and they're so easy, you guys. So, and also if you guys already have picture frames laying around, these are a great way to add some holiday decor, and also you guys could add in some family pictures to the center of these hearts. That's another little fun thing that I thought about doing with these. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, we're just going to use one of those Dollar Tree vases, add some water to it, and then find some of those long stem Dollar Tree roses that look really realistic. I love this project because I love having the look of fresh florals sitting around, and I cannot believe Dollar Tree has put out these absolutely gorgeous, very realistic roses. So I'm just cutting them off at the stem, just the right size for them to kind of look like a fresh floral arrangement. So I did cut them kind of at different lengths, and then you can always take them back out if they're a bit long, which I did cut some of these a little bit long. I wanted them to kind of cluster together more, so I just trimmed them up just a bit more. And then I had some extra burlap ribbon left over from another project. I just tied it around the base of this beautiful little glass vase that I picked up at Dollar Tree. I added that real water to the bottom, which I think is so magical because it looks real. It looks like these are fresh flowers that Mr. Romantic has brought me, and they will not wilt. They won't go bad, and I love that. So after I added that burlap ribbon, I decided I need a little pop of color, so I added this really cute Dollar Tree gingham check ribbon in the red and white. I just tied a shoelace bow, which means you just tie a bow like you would be tying your shoes. I gave it a bit of fluffing and then also dovetail those ends, which means you just fold it in half and then cut upwards with your scissors. That gives it a really nice boutique, fresh from the florist appearance. And this darling little arrangement came out oh so perfect, adorable, and definitely the lift I need to put by my kitchen sink every time I go to wash my sink out or to reach for some multi-surface spray, which, by the way, if you guys need some delicious smelling cleaners, I highly recommend Grove Collaborative. They sell the Mrs. Meyer's products and I am hooked for sure. So here we go with another Dollar Tree DIY. I used this old piece of cabinet board that I had painted white. Now you guys could also use a foam board from Dollar Tree. I took 2 sets of those Jenga blocks and I decided to make a really cute little sign. So originally I was going to spell out the words love, but I decided to spell out home because I thought that would last a little bit longer. But whatever suits your fancy, so just spell it out with your wooden blocks. And then I'm using Mr. Romantic's leveler to kind of make it level and even. I wasn't super particular about this because I am going to distress it and make it look kind of farmhouse shabby chic. But I'm just taking my hot glue gun now and I'm hot gluing the letters on. So I'm just adding a dab of hot glue and putting them back into place. And this is actually a super easy project. I was surprised it didn't take that much hot glue, but just a little bit of patience for sure. So once I had my letters glued on, I'm just going in with some white paint and I'm brushing the letters with some white paint. I got in and around the inside of the letters and the outside of the letters. I wanted it to be white because I'm going to use a bit of brown paint over it to kind of give it that really distressed look. So originally I was going to use some black stain, but I couldn't find any and it was really cold in the garage, so I had this brown paint. So I'm just kind of dry brushing this on, which means I'm dabbing my paintbrush off with a napkin. I'm adding the paint and then I'm taking that napkin and I'm kind of wiping the paint off. So this is a really fun thing to do if you're trying to distress something. If you get too much paint, just take a napkin and wipe it off. You can also go back over it with some touches of white paint, or I also went over it with some sandpaper. So I added on the brown paint and then I kind of took the napkin, wiped off the excess, and then sanded around that. And then I decided it was still just a little bit too dark for me, and so I added back in just a bit of white paint. So the layers really give it kind of that aged farmhouse shabby chic appearance. And I am going to end up adding this probably outside my house, but I wanted to seal it off first. So right now it looks absolutely perfect in my kitchen next to the cute little Dollar Tree sign that I painted that says love, and it just dawned on me that this says love home, and I really love that. Now a lot of you guys ask where I get these cute little faux cakes, and they are from Rhonda's Rose Cottage Designs. So check out her website if you guys need some fake cakes. For the next DIY, I'm going to create a really cute little burlap banner. So I had this piece of burlap with lace around it. It was kind of random and I wasn't really using it, so I decided to make a banner out of it. I'm just cutting out some squares, and then I cut 4 of them, and of course I did save that extra fabric. Don't worry guys. Dollar Tree also sells burlap, and then they sell the ribbon that has lace on it, so you guys could definitely create these fairly easily. I'm taking some Dollar Tree nautical rope, and then I'm just going to kind of bend the little flap over from the back and then hot glue it down. I've actually never made one like this before, so it was a little bit of trial and error here. But then I'm just going to slide them over and continue to hot glue them as I go along. Once I had the little banner pieces glued on, I decided to take some of that Dollar Tree burlap ribbon that had the lace in it. This is what I had on hand. You guys customize this to whatever colors you choose. And then I'm just going to wrap it around. I decided to actually use a piece of string instead of the thick nautical rope because I want to use the nautical rope on another project. So I'm just wrapping it and tying it onto the little piece of fabric. And then I had a wonderful subscriber send me this beautiful ribbon. Thank you, Lisa, so much for this. It is so soft and perfect for this project. So again, this is what I had on hand. You guys use whatever ribbons you love. And then I'm just going to tie it on to the little banner here. So I tied on a piece of burlap with lace and then just a pretty piece of pastel ribbon. I also was thinking that I could change out the ribbon for the holidays, and if I wanted to, I could even add like a purple or a pretty shabby chic green once Easter time rolls around. Hint, hint. Super excited for that. So here we go. We have this really darling little banner. Again, you guys can take whatever fabric scrap pieces that you have. I really wanted to add it to the front part of my little kitchen hutch because I do store water bottles back behind here on this shelf, and I thought it would be an easy way to kind of conceal those, and it just looks super adorable and absolutely perfect for this space. And there you have it, home sweet home with some adorable, really fun little DIYs. And if you guys notice up there on the corner by the love sign to the back is that extra bag. You guys know I wouldn't waste a bag. I just stuffed some tissue paper in it and put it back behind on that little tray. And then here's my little kitchen hutch. We actually use this every single day to put all of our bowls on, fruits, veggies. And then there's that little Market Fresh produce sign. If you guys see that at Dollar Tree, snag it. It's super adorable and super cute if you guys decorate for farmhouse or shabby chic style, which I think they actually can kind of go really great together. But I'm really loving these DIYs. They're very last minute, you guys, very easy and very fun, especially if you're like me and you like to hoard fabric. I love pretty fabric. I don't know. But so yeah, and here we go. Lots of pretties up here. I'm really happy with how this came out. And then here's a little peek at my kitchen. This is just shabby chic fabric, and then over my kitchen sink I have that cute little chandelier. Photo frames. These are Dollar Tree photo frames. So this is going to be the first Dollar Tree DIY. I just want to take these and paint them to make them matching. I had painted them over Christmas and then never used them, and so they just were kind of hanging out in my craft stash. And so I thought this was the perfect thing to use for that little side area on my bulletin board. I wasn't totally for sure how it was going to work, but I definitely knew that I wanted it all to be a fresh, nice, and crisp white. Again, I used 2 coats on this project. So for the next DIY, I knew I wanted to create a really cute way to display my inexpensive Dollar Tree calendar. So I just took one of these frames that I had laying around and I painted the outside of the frame white. This actually took 3 coats. And then I took the Dollar Tree calendar. I wasn't really crazy about the images on it, so I just wanted to cut out the actual calendar part. So I'm cutting in and around the entire thing to make it as small as possible because I wanted have room to frame it out with either some fabric, and I actually ended up choosing this really cute wrapping paper that I had left over from a photo shoot from last May. I held on to it. I'm actually really happy that I did. And so once I had it cut out, I kind of centered it to see about how much paper I would need. And then I just took my roll of wrapping paper and I laid it out with the cardboard, and then I traced around it to get the exact size that I needed for this project. Once I had my piece of paper cut to size, I unrolled it and then just kind of lined it up with the edges. And then I took some hot glue. You could also probably use some Mod Podge, but I just wanted to use a tiny layer of hot glue around the edges because I knew that the frame would cover it up. So I'm just very carefully gluing the paper down in and around the edges of the backing of this frame. Once I had the paper hot glued to the backing of the frame, I just added the glass back in and then took the paper with the backing and replaced it into the frame. I'm just pushing the tabs back down, and I left the little hanger at the top because I knew I wanted to hang it from my bulletin board. Now I'm adding some clothespins to the front of the glass part of the picture frame. My idea with this is to be able to remove the calendar days really easily. Originally I thought, oh, I'll frame the calendar and then I'll just take it out of the frame once the new month rolls around, but I know I'm going to get busy and February is going to roll into March and I'm not going to have it done. So I also think I'm going to go back in and just put a couple of the next months into this little frame. That way all I have to do is pull off that month of February. So here it is. I think it came out super adorable. Now we're going to make this adorable thankful sign, and I'm using the Dollar Tree love sign. I'm just going to remove the little heart, the steel heart, and then I'm going to paint it. And I did use 3 coats of paint on this. I did not want the love part to show through, so I'm painting it really well. And then in between my paint projects, I tried to paint everything at the same time, and then in between the paint projects, I worked on decluttering some of my cabinets, you guys. Oh my goodness, I have such a little mess going on in different areas of my home, mainly because of all my DIYs, but that's for another story. So after I had the 3 coats of paint dried, I just went ahead and went in and began to hot glue some clothespins onto the front of the sign. Once I got done hot gluing the clothespins on, I hot glued the heart back on. I just couldn't resist. It was so adorable and I didn't want it to go to waste. And then I'm just using one of those Dollar Tree thankful signs that I had picked up over the fall season, and I'm just gluing that to the top as well. I think this came out so adorable. Shabby chic farmhouse, perfect to help me stay decluttered. Hopefully, cross my fingers. Now I'm adding in the photos of my family. I did kind of plan this out as well before I hot glued my clothespins on, so I kind of used the photos to plan it out, but I think this is going to be so perfect, and again, hopefully I will stay decluttered on the front of my fridge. To hang my sign on the front of my refrigerator, I'm just using some double-sided sticky tape.
Okay guys, so here is my little picture DIY that I made out of a Dollar Tree sign, and I am loving it.
So here is the front of my fridge, completely decluttered, downsized many of my photos. Still going to work on some more way to display photos in another DIY. And then here is the side of my fridge with those Dollar Tree little frames. In fact, I am going to make over this really cute but old and a bit weathered basket. So this was a basket that I think that I found at a garage sale for about $1 or $2, and it has been drug around my house for quite some time. I've been eyeing it for a while, thinking I should give it a paint job, and I went ahead and went for it. So I'm just using that same paint. Now this was some chalk paint that I had mixed up myself, so this has a little bit of baking soda mixed in with the regular paint, and I'm just going in and I'm painting the entire basket. I didn't paint the bottom because I didn't really feel like that was necessary, but I did paint the entire basket, and again I gave it 2 coats of the paint. Also, I wanted to let you all know that between coats on all of these projects that I'm featuring in this DIY Trash to Treasure makeover project, I let the first coat of paint dry overnight. So this was actually a 2-day project. So I painted one coat on and then I let that entire coat dry overnight. And then on the second day, I did the second coat. I just wanted to give a little note for you guys on that. And then I took some Dollar Tree nautical rope and I just began to kind of hot glue it in and around that basket handle. The basket handle was a little floppy, so I did reinforce it with some hot glue underneath. And then I'm just wrapping the entire handle with the Dollar Tree nautical rope. Now, as I'm wrapping, every couple of loops, I'm hot gluing onto the handle, and then I'm having to kind of push it and press it down. That Dollar Tree nautical rope isn't super bendy, but it worked very good for this project. I originally thought it was going to be a little wide and I was just going to use twine, but I wanted a little bit bigger of an impact. I did notice on the Pottery Barn website how some of their baskets have these kind of larger loopy handles. So I wanted to kind of create that effect on a very teeny tiny budget using items from my favorite place in the world, the Dollar Tree. So I just continued to wrap the handle and also do some gluing until I got to the end of the handle, and then I snipped it off with my scissors. Once I had the entire handle wrapped and I cut the end off, I just went ahead and put it in this little perfect spot in my living room. I added in an extra blanket. I love to keep pillows and blankets in my living room. You guys comment and let me know. Do you have like a million pillows and blankets in your living room? I'm hoping to kind of contain a little bit of that, at least by having this basket. It worked out perfectly, and I think one of my favorite things with these kind of trash to treasure makeover projects is the item is fine in its original state, but giving it new life just does something exciting for my home decor. I love that. It's one of my favorite things to do. I actually used to have a flea market booth, and that was one of my favorite things, was to make things over with paint.
Hey you guys, so here is my entryway table. It's a white table. I have this white mirror above it, these 2 lamps because this space is not very well lit. And then I just have some family pictures, of course my favorite cleaner. I get all my cleaners off Grove Collaborative. This is the Honey Crisp Apple. And I will leave a coupon code below if you guys want to try any of the Grove Collaborative products. So I am just going to take off this vintage tray. I'm going to wipe this down because I always think it's great to start decorating with a fresh slate. So we're just going to clean this off really well. Somehow this table too is a hot spot for coffee spills. Don't ask me why. So I am going to add this tray back in. I just like the way that it looks. Okay, so here's some of those Dollar Tree florals. And I want to start with my taller ones at the back. We have these pretty cherry blossoms, which I think are great for spring. They're a little bit tall for this container. So I think I'm just going to kind of bend these down just a bit. And then I really like this as well. I just like how tall those are. And then this grass is really nice for spring. I think actually though, I'm gonna try some foam in here. Okay, so I started working on this floral and I don't like how these are laying. So I'm gonna add some foam, and I just found this foam at Dollar Tree. Okay, so I had to cut my foam down, and now I think it's gonna fit perfectly in here. Yay! Okay, so I am gonna cut this off just a hair. And we'll just start here. So this is the Japanese cherry blossom from Dollar Tree.
So now I'm just adding in some of those pretty white flowers. So I started out with the pink Japanese cherry blossom that I found at Dollar Tree. Actually, all of these flowers are from Dollar Tree. My daughter and I were in there the other day, and I could not resist picking up some of these beautiful spring florals. So I'm adding the tallest florals first. So I had two of these white, I believe they're delphiniums, and so I'm poking those into that little styrofoam that I added into the base of this beautiful vintage rose picture, and I'm just kind of like maneuvering them around. I want them to be tall, but I also want them to look realistic to where so they're kind of not completely evenly placed. And the other thing that I found at Dollar Tree that I thought was really nice to give it a pop of green for spring are these beautiful grasses. So I picked up two of the Dollar Tree grasses, and I'm just kind of pushing this one into the front part of the arrangement, and then I do take the other stem of grass and I kind of put that back behind it to give it a little bit of dimension. I'm really loving this. I do have a bamboo piece of leafy bamboo left over from the holidays. I added that kind of over there to the back, and then I'm also going in with this beautiful white Japanese cherry blossom. I am taking my wire cutters and trimming these down because they did have a rather large long stem, and I do want the heights to be a little bit different, and that way that will also give our eyes something to dance over. Now I have these beautiful white roses from Dollar Tree. I'm leaving them on the stem because I knew that the stem would be too short if I cut them off, and so I just kind of spread them out, and I'm just going to push them in as well. And I'm really loving this. This is very, very beautiful. I'm also taking the roses and kind of draping one over. That way it kind of looks like it's blooming out of the rose picture. And then I had this baby's breath that I'm going to pop in there. I do like to add the smaller florals towards the end. So, and then the other little pop of baby's breath. And then the last thing that I wanted to add into this floral was some beautiful white berries. I love these white berries from Dollar Tree. I think they're really classy and high end, and for $1 you really can't beat it. They're a great filler. And oh, the other thing that I did add in was one of those bundles of lavender. Dollar Tree is selling lavender, but I also picked some up at Walmart. I really liked how full the ones from Walmart were. And this is beautiful, very springy, very fresh. I could add in some Valentine picks to it if I wanted to, or some Easter eggs, so it's definitely interchangeable for the spring season. Very French farmhouse. I'm definitely loving this. So to the cherub that I moved over to this table, I decided to add in some of that Dollar Tree green moss. It does make a bit of a mess, I will tell you guys that. But the bowl, I believe, will pretty much contain it. And I did, again, want to add a really lovely, nice, springy pop of color here. This was super easy to play with. And so I did have another just little tiny piece of green vine that I was able to rustle up. I definitely need to make, I think, a trip to the craft store and find some new greenery, because I would like to add a little bit more, I believe, to the base of her bowl. But for now, this is what I had, so this is what I'm using. So I'm just kind of trailing it along the top, and then I'm going to kind of let it dance down. I think it would be really sweet to add in a bunny, some birds, or just maybe some springtime animals to the top of this eventually. But I think this is really cute, and so I decided to add in a candle to the top of this. Again, this is what I had on hand. This is one of those flickering faux candles, and so at night I noticed that it just gave off this really beautiful warm glow once the lamps were off. And now I'm adding this darling picture of my family. I love to keep these two pictures out for sure. This is one when everybody was young and babies, and then the other one is once they have grown up and is more in real time. So here is just a peek at my entryway. I do have this wonderful haul tree. Usually it's filled with backpacks and coats, but I did tidy it up for you guys. And then here's the way the table is turning out so far. I did not want to go too cluttery with this space. Reason being is because everybody tends to try to set things on this space anyway. I just wanted it to seem really kind of clean and just springy. I do want to add a little bit of character to it, like I said before, with like a bunny. And then before that, though, we still have Valentine's Day, so I want to choose a really special Valentine's Day piece to put on this tray possibly.
Full stop. Can't believe I live in your thoughts. I think about you all the time, morning, evening, and midnight. Such a wonderful delight. Forgo, give up everything that I own. Yeah, I'd give it all up now just to be with you somehow. Unexpected love was found.
A lot of you guys have asked me how I do my hair.
Now I thought I would share something really fun with you all, grab a cup of coffee and head into the bathroom with me. I'm going to share with you all how I fix my hair in the morning. So I just plug in my hot rollers, get them nice and heated up, and then I brush out my hair really well before I add my hot rollers. I also do try to find my part in my hair and kind of start on that side when I add my hot rollers in. So my hair is layered. I do cut my hair myself, and I hope to share a video with you guys kind of how I cut and color my hair, but for now we're just gonna fix it. So I use the largest hot roller first in the top front part, and then I kind of go down the side with another large hot roller, and that way it's not too boofy curly around my face. And then as I begin to work down the section of my hair, I use a smaller hot roller. Now I am definitely no salon perfection person. This is just how I go about really quickly adding some curls to my hair. It's kind of the lazy girl's hack to getting ready in the morning. I would love to use a curling iron or flat iron every day, but I just don't have time usually for that. So this is my quick and easy fix. It also allows me to get my makeup on while my hair is being curled at the same time. So dual purpose, you guys, you gotta love that. So I'm just adding in the rest of the hot rollers to the base part of my hair, and these are just the smaller ones. So I hope you guys are kind of loving this, something different for a change.
Okay, you guys, so here is what my hair looks like after I get my hot rollers in, and these are just hot rollers from Walmart. I'm gonna get my coffee. Oh, also I'm gonna show you guys what kind of shampoo I use. So for the shampoo I use, I just use Pantene shampoo, the Smooth and Sleek, and the Smooth and Sleek conditioner. And that's what I use, you guys. So here I am getting ready to take out my hot rollers. I usually do a couple chores and just kind of let them sit.
You're the rose in a garden, and it shows if I'm honest.
Okay, you guys, so this is pretty much all I do with my hair. I just kind of take my fingers and pull it through, and then if I want it to stay a little bit better, I'll add a little hairspray, but I don't usually do that. I just kind of pull it out, and then as the day goes on, it will kind of lay down a little bit. Check it out, you guys. I have a glue stick in with my jewelry. So there's my wedding ring, and grab my coffee. And so now it's time for me to get to work cleaning and crafting.
So I have a confession to make, you all. I have had Christmas outside my house up until last weekend, and it was really nice out, and so Mr. Romantic helped me tape off my front yard bike, and I am going to be sharing you guys the reveal of how I decorate outside my house. But comment and let me know, do you still have Christmas going outside your house? And if so, how do you transition from the holiday decor into winter decor outside your home? I always really find that those first couple of months before spring, that everything just seems kind of really dull. So any ideas I would love to have. Thank you guys, and I hope you guys are loving this style of video. I wanted to throw a couple different things in there for you, just some fun stuff, and I also hope you're loving this entryway table that we did. So excited for spring, so excited for hope and joy, and I'm just so thankful also to have you guys here.
Mid-August, and I've come out here to say that I love you. Ooh, ooh, you, ooh, ooh. So slow, hold you in my arms, won't let go.
So thank you all so much for joining me on this 50 DIY Dollar Tree crafting adventure. I will link some more of my big, huge, binge-worthy crafting videos below. If you guys are new, I would love to have you subscribe and join me on this fabulous, wonderful, fun crafting adventure. I feel like crafting is so good for your soul, whether it be a small project or something really big. You guys just get out those glue guns and go for it. I love you so much, and we will talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.
You're the rose in a garden, and it shows if I'm honest.